A new episode of Real Ranked is going live right now. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Real Ranked. Today we will be talking about every theatrical Batman movie because of the Batman release. So we're going to do this in a tier list format, and I'm going to go ahead and bring in Cole.
Hello. I'm Vengeance.
We got Albert.
Hello, everyone.
We got Andrew.
Dick.
And Aiden.
Yo.
All right, so how's everyone doing today? What are your thoughts on Batman?
Good. I like
I
it.
have lots of thoughts on Batman, depending on what we're talking about.
I always like it. That's George Henry's playing him, apparently.
This should be interesting tier list. I think all of us have. I think the middle part is going to be very shuffled between all of us. So
Probably.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, I
the
think we'll
bottom
agree
is,
on
pretty
like
clear.
top and bottom, and then it might get contentious in the middle.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up our tier list for today. And let's just get started with the first movie by release date, Batman 1966. And I guess I can go ahead and start and just say, like, this is, it's very 60s. It's like, it's definitely of its time, but it's still like a really fun movie if you just like think about it as like a product of its time. And I think like, the actors are Adam West and is iconic as Batman, like, from that time. And then Lee Meriwether, I really like her as Kit-Kat and Catwoman as well. And I think there's just like some really fun gags, like shark repellent is like the one, and then like the bat boat, like Batcopter is like there's some great stuff in here. But I just have fun with it. So, Albert, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like this film. This film is a lot of fun and like it's very much of its time. I think like we will never see this kind of Batman. Well, I guess closer to the animated form of the Lego Batman. We'll never see this kind of goofiness again. But again, it's like very much of its time. I love the joke that, well, it's not really a joke, but they try to kidnap Bruce Wayne because they think that's the smartest thing to do, the villains, and then turns out that's like it's Batman. I thought that was like, oh, that's stupid and funny. And there's also good jokes as well, and like the line, well, some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. I don't know why that cracks me up.
All right, we'll go to Andrew now.
Yeah. Okay. So I this is the only one that I haven't seen in the past like 2 or 3 years. Most of these I've seen in the past like 6 months. But so I'm coming in with the child's perspective, which was this is fun. Can I watch it again? That's the contribution I have. I don't remember a lot. I mean, I know I've read some of the 66 comics that they've done in the past few years, and I don't think I've finished one, but I've watched part of the animated movie they did that West did before he passed, and I don't know. I really like the style. Like it's really cool to have like this version of Batman. Obviously, like I want to say like Batman 66 is one of the things that really started to bring superheroes into like a more mainstream appeal. Like it made it easier to like get these sort of things funded. And so like ultimately this is the original version, but I think the way people think about Batman now is like so far from this. And so it's nice to have something like it to be able to like point back to and be like, Batman isn't always just like this dark character. Like he's it's goofy as hell because all comics are goofy as hell. And this is something that embraces it. So from what I remember, I liked it a lot, but I couldn't place it too high since I haven't seen it in so long. I don't know.
Cole?
Yeah, first time watching this about a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it's a product of its time. I'll say though that what it gets right is definitely just like the rogues gallery of it all. Even if it's kind of ridiculous that they're all working together in that way, and of course they're not going to get away. And I love that, like, particularly with Bruce and Kitka, it's just like they never get that close, but they get close enough that it's like, okay, we can still keep this G, just enough. You're like, okay, I love that. But yeah, I mean, like, bat repellent, bat bomb, all this stuff is great. Is it? Yeah, I mean, it's not, and I think I'll bring this up a lot in this ranking, is that it's not what I think of as Batman, and so to me, it's a little hard to connect to. But if you think of it outside of Batman, it's just like a superhero kind of thing. It's kind of fun, and it's stupid as it is. It's just doing what it's doing pretty well, which is being campy and cheesy. The dehydrator bit at the very end is quite funny. The fact that he just leaves these world leaders that are like mixed up in language and everything is like, all right, Robin, time to go, and he's like, okay, and they just climb out the window. You're like, all right, sure. I love that kind of thing. So, yeah, I had fun with this, but I can't say it's like top tier in comparison to everything else here. Obviously, I think the only, like I said, somebody said earlier, the only thing you can really compare it to is like Lego Batman, and that is a different kind of cheese and camp. It's just so, but yeah, overall pretty good though. Still fun.
Aiden?
Yeah, so I went into this one with not very high expectations. I'd always heard like, oh, Adam West, it's really goofy and weird, and like I'm glad Batman's not like that anymore. But I actually had a lot of fun with the movie. I like Cole has and everyone else has said, it is very much a product of its time. Yeah, I mean it's hard not to get caught up in just like the infectious sort of joy that everyone's clearly having making this movie. Like Adam West is like, everyone's really like hamming it up, and they all look like they're having a blast doing it. Like they like jump and frolic everywhere. Like they can't just run out of a room, they have to like prance. It's kind of funny.
So much energy.
Yeah, but like, I mean, they're probably on cocaine. Everybody was.
we're not. It's still 66. We're not fully there yet.
But yeah, like the bat repellent and like some days you can't get rid of bomb scene. All of that was like a ton of fun. It's just, I mean, it's just a fun sort of version of Batman. But I guess you really have to turn your brain off for most of it. The fact that like Bruce can't recognize Catwoman when all she does is put on a pair of cat ears between when he saw her as a person and then Catwoman again. Like, so like there's it kind of straddles the line between just being goofy and fun and then really pushing your suspension of disbelief. And I think sometimes it leans a little too far off that side, where you're just like, all right, I don't understand how this, like the scene where they're tied up on the buoy and it cuts away and it's like, oh man, that porpoise just jumped in front of the torpedo. I was like, I understand they don't have the budget to like show an exploding dolphin, but sometimes it was just like, all right, I get you're just like, you don't really have a great way to wrap this up, so you just choose like the goofiest possible answer. But sometimes it was fun, and sometimes it was very much like, okay, all right, I guess we're doing that now. So yeah, I think it's definitely worth a watch. I think everyone should see it at least once, but I don't think it's going to be super high up there in regards to everything else.
Yeah. Another great line is, they may be drinkers, Robin, but they're also human beings.
Yeah, and it's like everyone said, it's like a fun turn off your brain kind of thing, and then just like you can put it in the background and just like funny one-liners every now and then that just like cracks you up. But yeah, also I like the Batmobile. I kind of like the Batmobile.
Yeah, the Batmobile.
Oh yeah,
that Batmobile is sick.
Yeah,
like that's the one Batmobile. You're like,
Batman costume
own
not
it
so
and
much,
drive
but the
it.
Batmobile, yeah.
Whoa! What are we harping on the
compared to
costume
the other,
for?
well, it's okay. I don't like the cowl. Okay.
That's Robert Pattinson's cowl. It's basically the same thing.
No, it's not.
It's just colored a little different and it has a little bit more armor.
There's a really cool little thing in New Frontier where Batman changes his outfit to match the Batman 66 outfit when he adopts Robin. It's like a Justice League story, and like you see Batman before and after. And after it's like I think that this version of the Batman outfit is just like a really cool, good shorthand for like he's just like a happier person and like he's in a better place essentially. You're having a bit more fun with the character. I also have to ask, since I haven't seen this in a long time, and multiple of you said product of its era. When you say product of its era, do you mean like the tone of the movie, or do you mean like they said some stuff?
No, just like tone. Just tone.
Okay.
I guess
I can't-
I can't
era-
Batman. Like,
I don't remember anything that was like, that's not a good thing.
Yeah,
to say
I think it
anymore.
aged well, but like,
Like,
Yeah.
it's like
casually
it's
dropping an
aged-
F slur or something.
No,
No,
no, it's aged very well. I think.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
I think it's more of a product of its audience, if that makes sense, because it's coming from the TV side, right? And so there has those standards
Yeah.
that they have to meet for TV, and so coming into
Yeah.
movies still the same way. They
When
just
I
keep
say-
the tone.
When I say product of its era, I mean more like era of Batman stories rather than like time period in history.
Yeah.
And was the comic that goofy too back then during the 60s?
Oh, Silver Age
yeah.
stuff is
Yeah.
goofy as hell.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think Batman wasn't really dark and gritty until Frank Miller got a hold of him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which was like, wait, when did Returns come out? It was like late 80s.
80,
right? We
86.
recently discussed
Yeah.
that. Okay.
No.
So there was still, and even then there was like main runs that were kind of getting darker on their own
But
too.
Frank Miller also did Year One, and I'm pretty sure that happened before Returns, right? Did Year One come out before? No.
I think it's
Okay.
after. Also, shout out to the fact that they finally decided to put Catwoman in a cat suit, and then proceeding to take that into every comic afterwards. The fact that no comic writer thought of that is pretty funny to me.
Okay,
but
yeah.
it's also very iconic.
Year One was 88, and Returns
Okay.
was 86.
So not too far off though. So
That's fair. Yeah. I don't know what everyone. Actually, I'm curious now. What is everyone's introduction to Batman? Because I think for me, it's either Keaton's Batman or even the Schumacher Batman, or it's just like animated. I don't exactly remember which one, but like I definitely saw one of those as my introduction to
Yeah,
the character.
for me, it was either it was like it was probably like Super Friends or animated series or this, because my uncle used to have tapes of like the
Okay.
old Spider-Man and then like a lot of other various stuff. But I got super into Batman because of Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, I will say I was a casual fan when I was a kid because we'd like rent some of the Justice League Unlimited movies.
Yeah.
Or like
Oh, yeah, that-
collections of
yeah.
episodes, I guess.
Yeah.
And other than that, just like general toy and just occasional like Batman Beyond movie sort of stuff. Just like every once in a while, I'd come across something, but it wasn't really until the Arkham games that I really became a fan. And then read Batman Hush was not only my first Batman comic, it was my first comic, and that's a
Cool.
really good one.
That's a crazy one to be your first comic. So
Well, like-
much referential shit in there.
right, but I mean, I already had a knowledge of who all the characters were because I played
Yeah,
the
that's
Arkham
fair.
games.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I think that's what really drew me in and made Batman easily my favorite DC character and probably contender for favorite superhero.
Yeah.
I think Batman and Robin is still actually the first time I saw anything Batman related that I can I can actually remember. I'm sure there were.
Yeah.
I remember like Batman McDonald's toys and things like that, but not nothing like of substance. I don't know when. It's so funny because I wasn't as big into the Arkham games, and so like I'm not sure when I got into it. It was probably just Dark Knight around that time. So,
Mm.
but yeah,
yeah. Like I grew up more with like
2012,
Marvel, so
2013, I would say. That's when I started getting into it.
I was like pretty split. Spider-Man was my favorite superhero for a long time until probably the Arkham games. And then I was like, fuck, Batman's so cool.
Superman is my favorite superhero for the longest time because I have a pencil case with Superman on it.
Until
Right.
like the small things that'll do it for you as a kid.
but I mean,
So,
it was
yeah,
either like
Matthew, what
Nolan
were we-
movies for my introduction,
Okay.
or just like I watch Justice League Unlimited. So like, you know,
Yeah.
Dude, what
lot
a
of
good show! Genuinely, still a good show.
Oh yeah, Justice
Yeah.
League and Justice League Unlimited.
As an adult, it's like
I need to
damn, that-
rewatch all of them.
I was so lucky that I had that when I was younger.
All right, so where is 66 going?
yes.
I don't feel the need to weigh in here, but I'll tie break.
Okay,
I just don't feel like I have like a great place.
where did I have it? I think I had it at C. I was being generous with it.
I feel like I could place
I'd-
it in a ranking, but not a tier.
Yeah, I'd put it in like high C, low B.
Yeah, that's around where I would put it. Like I would
Yeah,
be fine with it in B, but if you guys want to lower it, I understand that.
let's start at B. Is
I'm
that-
I'm thinking B myself.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's what it is. It's pretty.
still a good movie, and so I think like
Yeah.
Mhm.
It
Okay.
knows what it is and it embraces it. At
Yeah.
least there's that.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
movie versus good
Unlike
Batman
some
movies can come up
films.
for Lego Batman. I think.
Whoa.
Mhm.
All right, are you ready to get to the big boy?
so. All right, y'all. Yeah, let's move on to Batman '89, and Albert. We will start with you.
Yeah, so it's been quite a while since I last rewatched this. I think it's been a year. But I like this. I like it okay. I don't love it. I think Keaton as Batman is pretty cool. I have mixed feelings about him as Bruce Wayne. I think it's like he's a really weird Bruce Wayne. Especially like the iconic line, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts." That one, like,
Hell yeah.
can you imagine Pattinson or Christian Bale saying that? Like,
Yes.
you can't.
I would love it.
I like
could
it.
do that.
I could see like a different intonation with it.
Christian Bale
his
played
delivery is
American Psycho.
really
I think he
key,
can
though.
scream, "You want to get nuts."
No, but like their versions of Batman, I think. is
saying
dope.
that to,
Right.
saying that to Heath Ledger's Joker, but no, yeah, I think like his version of Bruce Wayne is weird, and like even the character of Bruce Wayne in this film like sort of changed personality from time to time, like that version of Wayne that I just mentioned, that I just quoted, and like the opening kind of like more reclusive, loner type in the beginning, in the party and everything. So yeah, I like Jack Nicholson as Joker. I think is an interesting iteration for it. It's definitely not my favorite, but I think he did a good job with it. I think unlike 66, this one have an identity for Gotham itself, which is missing from 66, and I think Batman Returns did a better world building in terms of it, but we'll get to it. But in terms of this one, they start off the world building of Gotham pretty nicely, in my opinion. Awesome music by Danny Elfman, the score. And yeah, I'll just stop at that for now.
Andrew.
Can I just say before Andrew starts? We didn't mention this during 66. I love how Gotham looks like Southern California in 66. Thank you.
It literally is, probably.
Because it literally is.
Yeah.
Anyways, Andrew.
Yeah. No, like, well, okay. So Burton's version of Gotham in this is so like, I really like it a lot. Because this is like I don't know shit about architecture, but I'm gonna say Gothic because it's like dark or something. I've probably heard somebody say that before. I don't know. I like his Gotham a lot. I really like Keaton a whole lot. It's just like a really cool Batman movie. Like I like it a lot. Like I don't have a lot of stuff I can point to. I think obviously like performance is really fun in this. And this is something that's probably going to come up throughout this whole thing. I don't have like, and I wrote this in my review. Like, there's no definitive Batman. I don't think. So like, I don't ever try to be like, oh well, like if you think about it, in this scene, technically he killed this person. I'm like, fucking, I don't care. Like it's just how does it reflect within the tone of the movie? How do the changes of the character work within the world? And so with this, it's all cohesive. It's a really cool Batman movie. It's a really cool like relationship between him and Joker. Great like a great but boring Alfred introduction, and I think that holds for the four movies. Like the Alfred is like he's doing his job really well, but like there's not a lot that's super memorable about him. He's like nice British man that helps Bruce. Yeah, I don't know. I like this movie quite a bit, but I don't have a ton to say about it. I guess people say this is like the like introduction of dark Batman within like film, and that's like maybe, but also they have like dance numbers with Prince, so it's not like people who
Yeah.
like purely see it as like
You're telling me you don't love Bat Dance?
No, and here's the thing, I do love it. It's just I think people are like, oh, it's like this is the introduction of like dark Batman. It's like, oh, you're missing some stuff.
You don't associate dancing with dark? Come on.
Jacob in the live chat, he said that after a rewatch of this movie, he liked the movie less.
Interesting.
Steven likes Batman.
Batman, cool character. I can concur with that one.
All right. Well then, Cole, what are your thoughts on Batman '89?
Batman '89. Yeah, it's an interesting thing for me. Getting back to the idea of like a Batman I don't necessarily connect with. That's kind of what happens here for me, particularly. I do like Keaton as an actor here, which is kind of why I find it more interesting as a Tim Burton movie than a Batman movie, which I know they're one. It's one and the same, but for here, it's like all the Gothic architecture in the city, how it is, and the fact that Bruce Wayne is kind of a little bit crazy in some ways. You know, he's not necessarily like psycho, but like he's definitely on the line at points. I mean, we talk about that scene, right, where he just like just goes crazy a little bit. But yeah, I think what brings it down for me, and I know this is going to be an unpopular take, I really don't like Nicholson as Joker. I never have. I don't know why. Maybe just me as perception of him as an actor, but I just don't connect with that. I feel like he's not Joker. He's being Joker. He's being a version of that. And there's a lot of retcons that go into making it work within the story to kind of have him be responsible sort of for the parents' death and whatnot. Things like that are like, they don't bother me, but I like it as a standalone thing, which is probably why I like Returns a little bit more in this case, because it's not having to deal with all that. It's kind of just being a Tim Burton movie with that one. But yeah, I mean, I still have a good time with it, and it's very intriguing. Vicky Vale is also great in here. I like that dynamic with him and with her and Bruce. But yeah, overall, kind of mid on it. I feel like I don't have an opinion much either way. I can respect people who really like it, but I also see it as a thing that was revolutionary at the time, but doesn't necessarily work for me once I've seen thousands of other interpretations of it. It's not perfect for me, but it's not bad. It's just not great.
Steven in the live chat said that he thinks that the Joker scene in the basement after he transforms is arguably the scariest scene in all of live action Batman.
It's a good scene. Honestly, maybe they don't try to do scary that often. So, I mean, I probably was fucking piss baby scared of Batman Begins, if I remember correctly, when I watched it when I was younger because of the Scarecrow stuff. But maybe, yeah.
All right, Aiden, what are your thoughts?
All right, I'm going to be the first controversial opinion of the night. I don't like this movie at all. It's third from the bottom for me. I
was trying to stick to facial reactions. That one caught me off guard.
I'm aware. Yeah, I watched it months ago. I really didn't like it, but I was like, I don't know. It was late at night. I was tired. Maybe I wasn't like fully there. I just watched it again today. I don't like it, not even a little bit. I think it's so boring. It cannot hold my attention. I have to watch this movie in chunks because I get so bored. I like watch it for a little bit and then I go do laundry and then I watch it for a little bit more and then I go get lunch and then I watch it a little bit more. I can't watch this movie in one sitting. It's just so boring. The bat suit looks awful. Like, I understand there was limitations at the time. I understand that like this is pretty much like the second ever serious superhero movie outside of like Superman 1978. Actually, I'm not sure. Did Superman 2 come out before this? It must have, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess outside of the
84.
Superman movies, I don't know that there were like a lot of like actual serious attempts at a superhero film. So I understand that like maybe it was still pretty risky and the budget wasn't great. and maybe they just did the best with what they had. But it looks so awful. I mean, I hate how Batman's like he can't just like not turn his neck. He can't turn like the entire upper part of his body. So it just every time he moves or walks or does anything, it looks so awkward. Again, given that it's probably one of the first movies, the effects aren't very good. It's also the 80s, I guess. But like everything about this movie is so far improved in Returns that like it's hard for me to watch this one. I don't really like the script. I don't like Kim Basinger as Vicky Vale. I think she's boring too. I don't like Keaton as Batman. I do like him as Bruce Wayne, which is kind of weird. I think he's a decent Bruce Wayne. His Batman has so little to do. He's just kind of there. He just kind of shows up to places and then leaves. Like I don't know that there's anything really remarkable about it. I do really like Jack Nicholson as Joker. I think he does a pretty good spin on it. I'm surprised no one's talked about Danny Elfman's score yet, because that's like easily the strongest part of the movie.
That's the best Batman score in my opinion. It's pretty
The best
Yeah,
Batman score, probably.
It is really, really good. Like there's nothing more that sucks you into that world and that sort of environment and atmosphere than that score. But yeah, I do like Tim Burton's version of Gotham. I do think it's, like Andrew said, gothic, and it's dark, and it looks kind of like the Gotham that I would picture in my mind. Yeah, it's so like the music's good. Some of the performances are good. The environment and all that is good. It's just, I don't know, the script just does not draw me in, and I can't make myself care about this movie. I've tried. I want to like this movie so badly, but it doesn't do it for me. And I think it's just a lot of little things rather than one or two big things that I can point to. I have some issues with the script too, like the fact that, Joker kills Batman's parents. Just kind of weird,
Oh,
but
yeah.
That's fine. It works. I like it a lot.
I do think it works. Yeah.
yeah. And
Um,
the Prince stuff, and it's just
How
like, okay.
gruesome.
I like
It's-
that stuff. That's like some of the stuff that makes it like a cooler movie to me.
Yeah.
And I like the suit a lot, but that's hey
Yeah.
man.
I understand
they're
that
just green.
I understand it's an unpopular, very
I saw this
controversial
comment,
opinion.
and that's not a fucking bad thing. I
Yeah.
Honestly, this
this is
feels
not
like a
bad.
Jackson
This is
for-
cool. It's
Yeah,
fine.
okay, Jacob,
Here's
that's
my
Jacob,
main
that's
thing about Joker
Jacob-
2019 is that it's not like you barely see Batman. Like what the fuck?
Mhm.
no, I was gonna say, Jacob, that's kind of true for both of Burton's Batman movies. Batman's kind of a secondary character while the villains receive most of the
Yeah.
screen time. Like even more so for Returns. And I love Returns, but Batman's like in it for like maybe a third of the runtime. It's mostly a Penguin and Catwoman movie, which is kind of
They're
interesting
great.
that he would do it that way.
But
But yeah,
we'll
they're
get
so
there.
they're so good. But yeah,
We'll get there. We can
We'll
talk
get
about
there
that
soon.
later when we get
Yeah.
there. But
Can I just quickly say though, I think Jacob's comment's interesting because I think in terms of billing, right? Like Jack Nicholson is the bigger star in the scenario, right? And he
Mhm.
wants to play this character, and he is, as I understand it, he had a great time playing it, right? And so the fact that most of the beginning of the movie is focused on him does not surprise me. It makes the most sense, even on a financial level. People. I mean, I think you kind of hear about this all the time that like people just didn't believe in Michael Keaton as Batman at the time because he had done
Really?
mostly comedies prior to that,
Wow.
like Mr. Mom and things like that, right?
yeah.
And so I can see why they lean that way, because at least if you don't like Batman, at least Joker is kind of interesting. But it suffers for that, I think.
Also, and he's obviously memeing, but I have to point it out. His profile picture is Suicide Squad.
Ah,
So that's
Well,
fun. I like
If we're
that.
ranking Jokers, it's number one though. So you know, don't do
that's
that,
not
the,
fun.
bat, the
No, I
Joker
mean,
Lamborghini.
no, like he did pick the best Joker, obviously. but-
obviously.
Talking about Lamborghini, Batmobile, cool.
Oh, that's yeah.
Oh,
that's really-
yeah, we didn't talk about that. That is
I
like
think
awesome.
this is the best Batmobile design.
Yeah.
I love phallic Batman designs.
It's
that's debatable.
it's the most unlike any of the other designs, and that's why it's the most iconic look. Like if you go to the street and ask people, "Hey, draw the Batmobile," I think most people will draw this Batmobile design.
Yeah,
I think you
most people
greatly
actually-
overestimate the average person's artistic skills.
I would also
Yeah, but it-
They'll
Exactly,
all
but
be, they'll all
the
be like
fact-
a
the
stick figure car with like wings on the back.
That's the Batman Forever Batmobile. I think that like the way that most people see it and the best version of the Batmobile is like I don't think it usually is just a car. I really like the Pattinson one.
There's an
admittedly.
argument for the
it's
Batman.
Not it's not a bad
recent,
thing.
so like
Like to be just a car, but I like it when the Batmobile
Yeah.
is like a little bit weird, like it's gonna stick out on the
Fancy.
street, sort of thing. You know,
Mhm.
it's not
This-
like
this-
oh, that's like a kind of amped up Charger.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna confuse that for a Kia Soul. All right.
Yeah.
I think we're okay. You know, like
Yeah.
it's definitely of its, and it also fits the world too. Even though
I guess my favorite Batmobile is actually Arkham, but in movies,
Is the Batmobile in this one and the Schumacher and the other Burton films the same, or is it different? I don't know.
No,
a
they
little
changed it.
different, but it's outlined is
In-
kind of similar.
Okay.
yeah,
Because
it's the one
I
between
definitely.
and this are the same, I think, though.
My favorite Batmobile is actually the one from Batman v Superman. Weirdly enough, but that's like the only thing I like from the movie.
I
We'll
can
get we'll get
behind that.
we'll get to
there,
that.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay, so Batman '89. Where we
Yeah.
putting it?
The reason I was asking real quick, sorry,
That's
is
it.
that I have,
Easy.
I have an attachment to the Batmobile
I like
because I've
Batman
seen the
89.
replica.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think yeah, I just enjoy the campiness of it, and Michael Keaton's pretty solid. I think Jack Nicholson's really good, and like I think I just have fun with his performance as the Joker, and I really like Tim Burton's like just gothic design of Gotham. I think, but I think it improves on it when we move on to the next movie. So
yeah. I think Burton has the best Gotham. I meant to say that before.
Mhm.
Until the recent one, I actually think the new one's better. But until then, this was my favorite
yeah,
in live action. You don't see much of
Yeah,
Gotham. in
stylistically, this one looks cool.
Phantasm, so
for sure.
Yeah, I love.
But before we rank it, Steven said that he still has no clue what Joker's goal at the end was.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know
He
either.
wants to have the high ground.
he's the Joker. It's a joke.
I'm the Joker, baby.
He's crazy.
I don't know. There's a lot of like weird scene transitions that just didn't make a lot of sense.
Okay, wait. Okay, before rating, come on. The scene where he does the electric buzzer and then he turns into a skeleton.
Yeah.
Let's all get behind that. That's,
Sure, I can-
I like
I
can
do
get
I
that.
do like that part. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I should probably abstain from voting for this one because I don't want to. I don't
I
want to be
mean,
the person
that's
to
the
drag
point
it
of,
all the way
like,
down.
It's the point of it.
collaboration.
But if you want to abstain, feel free.
I will be the tiebreaker like Andrew was for the last
No,
one.
no,
If
I
there's a
think you should
tie,
vote.
just do the lower one.
Lube.
I don't know. I can't.
All right,
speak.
is Matthew starting this for this one?
Albert, we'll start with you.
Okay. I'm putting it at B.
B for Batman.
Yeah.
All of them are just in the B.
I have it in B as well.
It gets tricky because I had 66 at C and I had 89 at B, but I would still put 89 above 66.
Easy A for me. Like easy A.
Like the Emma Stone movie.
Yeah.
No. Shit.
All right. Well, I think we just put it in B then because I think also Aiden, we know he.
Mine is in D. Mine is a D tier. So
Yeah, I think you could
basically
argue
just
that with Aiden's
even
involvement, it
out
goes
to a
under
B.
Batman 66, but we can keep it there for now.
Yeah, I don't care. I know that's probably my most unpopular Batman opinion, so I'm fine.
Sorry,
with
I'm pretty sure all of us have
not having
unpopular
much
eventually.
input.
Oh,
on
I
that.
can't wait for mine.
I think I'm mostly in the mainstream on these because I feel like the tide on Forever's turning, but we'll find out.
Yeah, I would agree with that statement actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Returns?
All right. So yeah, we'll move on and start with Andrew.
Okay, so I watched Returns at 1 a.m. last night for the first time.
For the first time?
First time?
First time because
Wow.
I was like, I don't know, I was like always weird about watching these movies. So I watched 89 for the first time last year, and I just like didn't continue to watch Returns after that for some reason. So this is like a super fresh watch, and it's gonna be the same for Forever and Batman and Robin because that's all in the past like 16 hours. But Yeah, this is like, I gotta admit, I was expecting like a little bit more, just because of the way that some people have talked about it as like surpassing the original, which it didn't for me. But okay, my main takeaways: I like that Burton heard about the Penguin and was like, "All right, that guy sounds like a little freak who lived in the sewer. So I'm gonna cast Danny DeVito and make that shit work." Because that did. I loved DeVito as Penguin. I also. Okay, I loved Michelle Pfeiffer's performance. I didn't love Selena Kyle's character, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think she did like an amazing job with it of elevating a role that I might not have liked that much into something that was like really cool. But it didn't. I don't know. I think that I've just like never landed on what I think like about Catwoman, like how she works, because I've seen some bad interpretations, or just I guess not less bad and more boring in a lot of stuff. But I ended up liking her a lot in this. She didn't take the number one spot from Kravitz for me, but I liked her a lot. I didn't know Christopher Walken was in this. That was a huge surprise.
Max Shrek.
That was a nice surprise. Keaton doesn't show up a lot, but when he does, great stuff. And yeah, I think he shines brighter as Bruce, but he does some good stuff as Batman. And I think, I don't know, the story just kind of winds and weaves for a while. Like, I'm not one to like harp on like could have been shorter, but it did lose me at a few times. Just where I was like, okay, yeah, okay. So overall, like I enjoyed it, but it didn't really blow me away. But there's a lot of good stuff. There just wasn't anything that made me go like, well, okay. The movie as a whole didn't make me go like, damn, that's a killer Batman movie. But yeah, and also it embraces the goofiness a bit more, and also these movies are the most like, as I'm watching it, I'm like, well, this is a closed set for sure. Like, every scene, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I can see the back wall of the studio here. But I liked it. Like that didn't affect anything for me. That was just a funny observation that was happening. And the first time I thought about that was in the scene where like the Penguin riot starts near the beginning. I was watching it and I was like, dude, this is like one of the most clear like studio movies I've ever seen. But I liked it a lot. It just wasn't like amazing to me.
Yeah, we got a lot of returns love in the chat here. I'm very surprised by that. Not the surprise, but just I'm
surprised people would say it's the best one. I think it's pretty great, but I don't think it's best.
I would agree. Shall I start? Then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Please.
because basically it's pretty a short summary here where it's basically just better, a little bit better than 89, and for that reason it does everything that 89 does except a little bit more Tim Burton-y, a little darker, to the point where he didn't get to direct the sequel because McDonald's tours or whatever. But I think it's in line with what Burton does, where he takes the idea of a character like Catwoman or Penguin and very much brings the elements that may necessarily be what we consider where it's like Catwoman's a cat burglar, but in this case, she's also just like is saved by cats and like has like cat like tendencies, and same thing with Penguin. All the black goo is just perfection. I love it. Yeah, I really don't have much to say other than I like it. It's been a while too since I've seen it. I think I've seen 89 more recently, but I do like it though. It's just a great Burton film. It's a great Batman film. I like the villains better here, which definitely helps. So by definition, I like it the most out of what we have here so far. So
it's also a great Christmas movie.
Man, I don't like that argument.
It definitely have very good holiday season vibes.
It's very much like
it does. I know. It's just sure if you want to watch Batman Returns at Christmas time, by all means. It's not. There are way worse movies to watch at Christmas time. Yeah, I'm allowing it. Yeah.
I give you permission to watch this movie.
Now, I decree it. All right.
Aiden, what are your thoughts?
I love this movie. Which is weird coming off of how much I don't like 89, but I just think that everything in this movie works so much better. Like I think it is weirder. It's more just bonkers off the wall than the original one. I think that as weird as it is to say, I think that Batman being in it less helped it. It focus. You definitely don't really see how bad the Batsuit looks in this one because they don't have a lot of continuous shots focusing on the upper part of his body. He's usually in motion or in the background or something like that, or it's like just his head, which worked a lot more. I also didn't know Christopher Walken was going to be in this movie. I also didn't know his character was named Shrek. So, that meant I couldn't take him seriously for anything that he was saying. Every time I'd be like, Mr. Shrek, I'd be like...
I believe that's a reference to the original Nosferatu actor.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. So it's not also prior to Shrek coming out. So, partly that.
I know. I was kind of surprised that, like, Batman just straight up murders people in this movie. Like, he straps a barrel of dynamite to someone's chest and pushes them into a sewer. Literally watches them blow up. I was like,
nah, bro, it's not lethal dynamite.
Bro,
it's
using
fine.
the water, so it probably didn't.
He there's a couple other times he just like watches someone fall to their death when he like clearly caught someone a second earlier. I was like, it's like I don't know what's going on, but I like it. It's kind of weird. But yeah, I obviously Danny DeVito and Michelle Pfeiffer just acting their asses off, having so much fun.
Yeah.
I love their performances. I think it's a great Penguin, and Michelle Pfeiffer is definitely my favorite Catwoman. It's kind of weird that Wonder Woman 1984 just did Michelle Pfeiffer for Cheetah, but worse.
They really did.
Like administrative assistant who suddenly gets cat-like powers. Nerdy administrative assistant who suddenly becomes like fearless cat lady. But yeah,
but Cheetah doesn't have a sick ass whip. That's the difference.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. Yeah.
Danny Elfman's score is like even better in this one. I feel like there's like even more songs that I was like, wow, that was actually really cool. Like Face to Face, I think, like Sushi and the Bandits, that plays during the dance scene between Bruce and Selena. It was really good. I like Keaton more as Bruce Wayne than I do as Batman in this movie. But yeah, I don't think there's a bad actor. I think everyone just plays their parts really well. I don't know. I think that everything in this movie works pretty well, but it's also still super goofy. And I do in general prefer the more serious Batman. But in terms of just like for what it is, I really, really liked it.
Mm-hmm. Rachel saying she's surprised that Cole hasn't brought up Burton taking cues from Dr. Caligari.
Yes. I brought Nosferatu up, so that's all I can reference in terms of German expressionism at the moment. I will say though, I think it's interesting that the film is a little bit goofier but also darker. It's a weird kind of thing where I'm not surprised that parents had outrage at it at the time, but also like there's literally penguins like roaming the street, and like it's like I don't know how like they have certain qualms with certain parts, but at the same time it's also goofy. It's just like dark goofy. So
Burton's one of those strange directors where it's hard to tell what his target audience demographic is. Like especially age range. Because like Edward Scissorhands feels like a kid's movie for some of it, and then it suddenly doesn't, and then like Big Fish, I feel has parts that are definitely family oriented, and then it's not, and it's
Big Fish is weird.
it's kind of hard to nail down
content of it. I would say it's definitely geared towards more adults, but
so it's like it's hard to tell who exactly his target audience is for like any given movie. I feel like.
Also, can I two things before I was blown away while watching the movie that Aiden liked it so much, because Aiden had told me how much he liked it, and I was watching it and I was like, that is very surprising to me. I can't exactly tell why. And then secondarily, I actually really liked that, like, they just use bats. Like, they just use bats, and then people go, "Oh, it must be Batman." Like, that's so obvious. But nobody ever does that. It's like, oh yeah, just he looks like a bat. Use bats to frame it.
Speaking of animals, is there an orange cat in this movie? I can't remember, because if there is, we need to.
There is,
There
right?
probably is the scene where she's like on the ground and all the cats swarm her
Yeah.
and like resurrect her or whatever.
I
There's
need to do
probably
some research for the.
there's
orange cat.
probably an orange one in there.
I'll look it up.
You know what?
Well,
I'm
Matthew
gonna
talks.
bring up the orange.
Yeah. Let's just assume that there's at least
Yes.
one.
I assume any movie with Catwoman has a orange cat.
Oh, I
in
don't
it.
know about that, but
Pretty sure the Batwoman has an orange, or the Batman has an orange cat as well.
It does. Yeah.
I don't think the Lego movie does.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Right, it's a
Dark Knight
plastic
Returns,
cat.
They don't really lean into the
That's
cat.
probably true. Yeah.
Rises. Fuck, I fucking hate Nolan for naming it Rises.
Yeah, there are more than one. I'm looking it up right now. There are more than one orange cat. So
We're good.
Okay.
We're good then.
Well, yeah.
I don't know how
feel
I don't know
like,
how to count it. There's too many.
a lot of my thoughts are just the same as Aiden. Like, I really like this one. I think it's an improvement on the original. Like, I still like the original though, but I really like the Pfeiffer and DeVito. I just think the heightened camp of the whole movie and Elfman's score is even better. And it's a great movie.
Good bit.
My turn.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I have the most different opinion out of everyone here. I'll start with the positives. This is the best looking Gotham in my opinion, sort of aesthetic. Outside of the animated series and Mass of Phantasm, I think this is like my favorite Gotham vibe.
Yeah.
I love it a lot. I think the Christmas part of it helps too. What's his name? Christopher Walken is fine in it. This is the second best cinematic Shrek after the Shrek that we all know and love,
Whoa.
obviously. I love Michelle Pfeiffer in this one. I think that transformation when she go home after getting bitten by the cat and at her home and just creating all the suits and everything, her going psycho is just iconic. It's awesome.
It's really good.
When she first entered the department store and started whipping those like mannequins, and then the guys are like confused what to do. I think that's just like an awesome scene.
Apparently,
I
she
do
did that
think
in
she's
one
my-
take. By the way,
Yeah,
that's what
really?
I've heard.
That's
I
Yeah.
watched the behind the scenes
That
footage.
scene,
of that.
yeah, I've seen. I didn't know if that is the first take, right? That's not.
I don't know if it was first take. Just the fact that she whipped the heads off like
It's
3 heads
so
in a row in one take is pretty impressive. I think.
Yeah,
That's a way to basically like, introduce yourself to the screen. Like I'm Catwoman. That's like really cool.
Yeah.
I do think she's my favorite Catwoman as well. I understand it's not like the traditional comic book Catwoman, but I think just the look of it and just the whole chemistry with Batman as well. I think it just works really well with this Selena Kyle / Catwoman. Batman is okay, pretty much the same. I think from the previous one. I don't exactly know if I like this version of Batman better than 89, but I do love the chemistry between Catwoman and Batman in this one. It's just really well done. Probably my favorite stuff of this film is those two together. And the negatives now. I don't like the Penguin. The Penguin is creepy as hell, and I'm surprised none of you have pointed out how horny this character is.
Okay,
It's insane. There's literally a line that says, "I'd like to fill her void." And it's like, I could really get into this mayor stuff. It's not about power. It's about reaching out to people, touching people, groping people.
Unlimited
Like,
poon
what the
cake.
hell? And people are supporting him as a mayor, even though he's like this creepy ass, non-humanoid, 3-fingered creature that's like want to filling people's void and shit. Like, what the fuck?
Albert,
Gotham
I think
loves
that's
an
what we
underdog.
call- I think that's what we call social commentary.
It's kind of weird. But it's
Think
too
about it.
creepy. It's too. He's just like, okay. Danny DeVito acted well. I just think Burton went too far with this in terms of the portrayal for the Penguin. I think like everything else is like Burton nails it, except for the Penguin. I think this is where Burton goes too far as the portrayal of the Penguin itself, just because like it's too weird. It's too much.
Well,
and since it's a big part of film, it does reduce my enjoyment a little bit.
Yeah, I can agree with all of that while not being completely on the same page.
okay. So where are we gonna put it then?
All right. So, start with Andrew. Where you want to rate this?
It's a B. It's a B for me, like low B probably. But I'm not mad at like a little bit higher, you know.
I'm above Batman 89 here, so it'd still be well, hold on, let me look. I think I had it at A. In talking about it, I think I'm more inclined to go B, but I wouldn't be upset with an A. I'll just say that. So
Man,
either
nah.
high B or low A.
Okay. Aiden?
It's a solid A for me.
I would put it in B, but at the top of B for me.
Okay. Again, I do like this film. It's just not my favorite because of that. I would put it like low B or C.
Ooh, okay.
I think that evens out to just like high B still.
High B, I think. Yeah, because
Right.
we got 2 A's. I'm a high B. And
Guys, thus far we're
Oh my god.
We need more horns,
Thank you,
so-
Steven. Thank you.
All right.
and I think this is where the B changes. But I guess we'll
There
find out.
is another line. There's another line from this film where he meets Catwoman for the first time. Just the pussy I've been looking for. I'm like, okay, cool, man.
dude, the scene on the bed. Oh my god. Yeah, some of these
with the
scenes are
ointment.
rough.
Sent it or I sent it. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can
It's
see
fun.
why
A lot of
the
this
studio
stuff fun,
wanted
though.
to go the other direction.
Hey man, he's a
Yeah.
creepy little sewer person who's never seen a woman before. Give him a break.
Dude, it's crazy how much he's aware of without being, people
Yeah.
must be throwing some weird stuff in the garbage. you know?
Also, he bites people's nose, which is weird. Anyway.
I like that scene a lot. That I like a
Oh,
lot
I-
actually.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
When he goes, it could be worse. I could be gushing blood out of my nose, and then everybody in the audience is sitting there like, "All right, let's go." We all know what's about to happen.
Oh man. All right.
All right. Well,
So-
move on to the next movie, Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, starting with Cole.
Hey, can we actually start with Andrew on this one? Not that I feel like you have more to say. I don't know. I'm okay with
Weirdly-
starting on it.
Well, save him
Weirdly,
for last then.
Maybe not.
Okay, I'll go then. That's fine.
Okay,
If that's the case.
I have a few things, but
I have a lot of things to say on the animated series. This is a pocketed version of it. It is very self-contained, which is great, but also getting the art style of it. It does surprise me that, it shouldn't surprise me that it was on the line between a DVD or a home release and a theater release,
Yeah.
because you can kind of tell in certain shots versus others. But I feel like the budget ultimately comes through. Obviously, Conroy's Batman is just fantastic.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's gonna have that take generally. It is. I think he does the best of blurring the lines between Batman and Bruce Wayne. His Batman is very distinct from his Bruce Wayne, but yet they are almost two different characters. But you see why they are the same person.
yeah,
Yeah, I think Phantasm is a cool character to have. It's great backstory that kind of develops within the story that actually makes sense to why he would be adversarial to Bruce, but also her motivations ultimately. Spoiler, if you haven't seen it. I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're looking at the poster, you assume it's male. I don't know. Whatever. Gender
well,
is a
she
concept.
got like that bulky armor, which is usually how animated.
Right.
films
Oh,
are.
I do love that
Is
scene when
that
she
I
takes off the armor and it's
Yeah.
clearly like her shape is like hourglass there, but it's like she just takes off the armor. It's like
huge
that's not
fabulous.
how that works. But yeah, overall, it's like if it was in the series, it would be like mid tier for me. But it's as its own movie, it kind of is like doing everything pretty good. Just it doesn't. I don't know why. It's just not like. Maybe it's the fact that it doesn't have like the villains in that way. Even though Joker's in there, I do like that final scene. I do like him walking around in the model of Gotham, which is great. Shout out to the Warner Brothers logo, co-branding before Space Jam. Yeah, you gotta love that kind of thing. Yeah, and also, I mean, and I think I mentioned this. I think it does a great job of being like sort of Art Deco and sort of Gothic and blending those styles from Burton's, but also kind of being a classic Golden Age style, right? Or matching his original 30s origins there, right? So, there's a lot of things to pull from here. If you haven't seen it, I'd recommend watching it. I feel like everyone should watch it because it's obviously, despite being a theatrical release, it didn't do very well. And obviously it's considered a classic now, but ultimately it's still pretty good. Just maybe not my favorite thing out of the animated series. So yeah.
You and I are closer on this than I thought we would be.
Okay.
All right, Aiden.
To my shame, I still have not seen the animated series. I've seen clips and bits and pieces, but I've never sat down and watched it. So I've been meaning to rectify that for a while. Yeah, I think this movie's decent. I really don't have a lot of thoughts on it. I think it's fine. I like the music. Kevin Conroy is a great Batman. Mark Hamill's a great Joker, and I don't really have much more thoughts on it than that. It's all right. It's good. It's decent, but it's not memorable for me. I've seen it 3 times now, and I still couldn't tell you what happens for most of the movie. And I just saw it like a week and a half ago. It's like I remember parts of it, but I don't know. I enjoy it, but it's not anything that's special or sticks in my mind all that much.
All right. Yeah, I like this movie. I think just it's interesting showing just like the dichotomy of Bruce Wayne and Batman and how he has to balance that with like his love life and just like personal life with like fighting crime, and I just like find that really interesting part of his character. And there's great action, mystery. I knew the twist already, so I don't think it ruins the movie at all. I think it's still pretty solid. It's like holds on its own, even if like who the Phantasm is.
I don't think it's that hard to. Yeah,
I think
it's pretty obvious.
It's pretty obvious, but like I already knew it going in, so like I still think it's like it's good and good action as well, and great animation, great voice work as well. I've never seen the animated show, but I should watch it. But yeah, Albert, what are your thoughts?
I'll start off that I've seen a couple episodes of the animated show, but not the full thing. I've seen this film a couple of times now. I really like this film. I think it does bring the vibe of the Gotham City from the animated show into here, and that is like, in terms of Gotham, that's like my ideal Gotham, like sort of futuristic, but have like very 50s style. I don't know if it's 50s, but like old school architecture kind of thing. And I just love that aesthetic. I like that they are able to handle the backstory with the time jump of like present time and going back and forth with Batman, with Bruce Wayne still in like college, and with the relationship with Andrea Beaumont. I think it worked really well, which usually sometimes in Batman films, like time jumps doesn't necessarily work. So I like it here. Sorry about the siren. I like that they are able to introduce the original villain in Phantasm, and it just works really well. Just buy the character right away. Like, yeah, this can obviously work. And then the twist, like everyone talk about the mystery, it keeps you guessing, in my opinion. And like, yeah, okay, and you buy it once the reveal happens. It's like, oh, that's not out of left field. It makes sense with how everything was set up. I also like the revenge story of herself with the crime mob storyline. The Joker storyline is a little bit out of left field. I think it feels like kind of forced. It just feels like, oh, Batman movie, gotta put Joker in. So it feels. I thought it was like that. Although I like the big fight at the end with the fair, not a fair. What is it? The Worldsman Park thing.
Fair.
Yeah, World's Fair. With the big turbine fan thing. Yeah, like, yeah, that's so goofy. But yeah, music's great.
Yeah. Sorry, before we go on to Andrew, I forgot to mention how unintentionally goofy it is that Batman, for a large part of the movie, is just Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man from Amazing Spider-Man 2, where he's like stalking the girl. Like that shot where he's like across from the restaurant with literally
Yeah.
across the street from the restaurant, just like watching her with binoculars.
Yep.
In the
Mark
rain.
Like I don't think it's supposed to be funny, but it's so funny.
Yeah,
I mean-
no, I agree.
Out of all superheroes, probably Batman who does that.
Yeah, that's true too.
I mean, he does it. He does it in the Batman as well, but it's for more of a like target
See-
acquisition thing
see, but
rather
Superman
than,
can do it
like,
easier.
pining after someone.
Well, it's
Superman
not
can
about
do it
easier,
easier,
well, it's
right?
the character, right?
But does he
Yeah.
do it
That's
more
like the
than
Superman
Batman? I don't
Returns-
know.
Superman Returns, Brendan. What's? Oh my God!
Routh.
Wait,
Brendan Routh.
Brendan Routh like X-ray visioning Lois's house that she's
Yeah.
living in with
Yeah,
like
that's
her
creepy.
family. Okay, so this is not the way I thought this would go, because most like Batman fan conversations are like, I think this movie's the best, and then somebody comes in there like, actually, Mask of the Phantasm's the best Batman movie. Which I don't agree with. I think it coasts on the inertia of people's love for animated series. Not to say that's bad. I just think that that's the reason most people place it like top tier, like best Batman movie. Because I do think, yeah, everything like any of the issues you guys have said, I pretty much agree with. Where it's like, why, like there's just an issue with anybody who writes Batman where they're like, well, you gotta have Joker. Even though like I'm glad that Mark Hamill probably got that check and like he's great in it, and it ends up working. I just don't. It just feels like a bit shoehorned in. And then I don't know. Yeah, I definitely resonate. Everything like animated series is the best Gotham, but that's like kind of a given. And you don't see Gotham in this that much. Like you see it. But it like once again, I think it's just like relying on everything you already know about the animated series. Even if you haven't seen it, I think it uses some of that stuff. So yeah, Conroy's like the greatest, and there's like a lot of great stuff here, but it's not S tier for me.
Yes, Albert in the back there.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a question. For the animated series watchers, does this take place at the end of the series, in the beginning, in the middle?
I think it. I mean, it happens
it's
before
post-
New Batman Adventures, so
Post
this
Yeah.
is
series,
the
right?
middle, I guess.
I actually don't know. I'm not great because I didn't watch it in order the last time I watched the series, so I'm kind of
Okay.
mixed up.
Just
on
curious.
timelines, but
Was it originally like only like one long season and then it like switched to a different network or something, and that's why there's two significantly shorter seasons? Because like season
well,
I don't know
season
if-
1 is like 65 episodes, and then season 2 and 3 are both like 12.
I've seen 4 seasons. Like it gets listed differently. In a
Yeah,
lot
it
of
gets.
Okay.
That's the thing. I can't keep up how it's listed. If it's a whole animated series or New Batman Adventures where they change art styles, which I don't
Okay.
like. So I'm glad I could say that. I could say that about the movie. I'm glad it's still in the original animated series
very much
style.
agree with
It
that.
very much helps. Also, I mean, also
Yeah, Wikipedia
theme-wise,
has it as 2 seasons. It has 65 episodes and then 20 episodes. So
yeah,
Wow.
it doesn't.
it gets
a little
listed
wonky.
in a lot of places.
But,
I need to read up on this, I guess.
Yeah, we also didn't mention that it's just using. It's basically its animated series theme is just 89's theme, and so it worked perfectly. So
Yeah. Like I said, I don't have a ton to say here. I think it gets too much credit from Batman fans, but it's ultimately still a great movie.
All right. Well, we'll start with Cole with your ranking.
man, it's I got this all out of whack now though. So I would say behind Returns right now.
Okay.
I guess. I mean, I had it bottom B, but I also had Returns at A, so it would still. Yeah, after the conversation, I think it's still. I originally had it below 89, but I think I'm gonna go with my gut here. I'm gonna say above 89 for sure. So, but still B. We're not getting
Okay.
out of B for some reason.
What about you?
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's surprising.
I put it at the bottom of B.
I would put it at the top of B, actually.
I'm gonna say A because I do like this film slightly more than the Burton ones. So
Okay.
Yeah, for me, it's easily top of A. I didn't realize that was.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
So
we're the A
I-
boys.
I could coincide because I feel like there's gonna be enough A
I
stuff
think
here.
I'm okay with putting this in A. Yeah,
Sure.
I think
we gotta
I-
break.
I-
We gotta
I-
break the B trend. Dude.
I'm
We're
okay
never
with
gonna
it.
get out of
You know
it.
what? I don't mind this in A tier. Like this is a great movie, so I will put it there.
I think even just for Kevin Conroy's performance alone,
Mark Hamill.
I-
too.
True, true.
Mark Hamill as well. But I don't. Okay, the thing that's so weird about that he's in the movie, it doesn't. It feels weird that at the end of the day, when they trace the money back and who is the boss here, it's the Joker. Like, very weird choice.
It is funny they give him like they show him as like pre-Joker, like
Right. Yeah, I guess they set it up enough, but you're like, oh,
I forgot about that because I hadn't
Yeah.
watched it in like 10 years.
it was
before.
like, okay, sure,
Mhm.
that's how you can get Joker into the movie. Whatever, I'm fine with that. It's sort of plausible, I suppose.
Okay, well, let's move on to the next movie.
We're averaging
Batman
31
Forever.
minutes movies, so we can pick it
Well,
up.
I think we should pick it up through these. I don't think unless someone really has.
I'm
an
gonna talk about Forever, but I'll step down a
Okay.
little bit.
Okay.
Aiden, we'll start with you.
Yeah, this one I enjoy, but I don't think it's a good movie. I think it's a bad movie that I have fun with. I think I don't typically enjoy Jim Carrey's style of humor, but I really like it in this movie. I think he's just super fun. I actually really like Val Kilmer as Batman. I think I enjoy Val Kilmer as Batman, less so as Bruce Wayne, but I think he still does a pretty good job. Really don't like the bat nipples. I really don't like.
They do have bat nipples. I forgot. I can't remember when the
they're less pronounced than Batman and Robin, but they're still there.
But the final suit, he doesn't have them, right?
No, I think
Like
he still does.
Wait, no, he doesn't have them on the final suit. I just looked.
I thought
Okay.
so, right?
I don't
The
remember.
logo's too
He has
And
them
they're
on.
very
He has them on
subtle.
one of those.
They're
suits,
subtle
yeah.
on his normal suit, and then the sonar
Mhm.
suit doesn't have them.
Yeah. I don't really like Joel Schumacher's version of Gotham. It's like the super neon ravey looking Gotham, which is kind of weird. Yeah, I don't know. Besides like just the madcap performances by Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones, and then me really liking Val Kilmer. Those are like the only saving graces for me about this movie. Like I like it for the performances and not much else. I don't think the music's anywhere near as good now that Danny Elfman's not there. Don't really like Gotham. I don't remember.
I don't remember.
It's Elliot Goldenthal.
Elliot Goldenthal. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. The plot's not super memorable. I remember a decent amount of it, but it's not as memorable as some of the other ones. So yeah, outside of the performances, I don't really like it, but the performances are enough to make me enjoy watching it at least.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. Like, I don't think this is a good movie, but you have a really fun Jim Carrey performance. The Riddler is just super goofy and over the top, and I think just Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. I find entertainment out of that, but it's like it's not good.
End of sentence.
I'm so excited, dude.
All right.
We
I
got
was writing down.
So
I was writing down some notes.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't really like this film. I think this might actually be my least favorite Batman movie, and the main reason. I mean, it's this or Batman and
That's
Robin.
fair.
I'm pretty
Sorry,
sure all of you.
I'm just being dramatic.
It's and the reason why is because Batman and Robin goes full camp and they really embraces it, and tonally it's consistent. My biggest issue with this is that they are trying to balance out Burton's darker and more serious one with Batman and Robin's when transitioning to being camp like Batman and Robin, but they didn't fully do both, so it's like super inconsistent between the two.
We lost Matt.
Matthew's gone. And I think Kilmer is also a victim of that because it seems like he's trying too hard to imitate Keaton. And even like the mannerisms of the Bruce Wayne and the look of the Batman is like very much trying to mimic Keaton and not being his own version of Batman, which I think it sort of suffers from it a little bit. Jim Carrey Riddler is all right. It's very goofy. I don't I don't want to see him in another leotard, please. Tommy
Hot take.
Tommy Lee Jones is all right as Two-Face. Yeah, he's pretty forgettable as Two-Face. Sure,
It
Yeah,
does
if
look
you-
comic booky, I suppose.
If you watch the movie Val about Val
Yeah.
Kilmer, it's really sad hearing his experience on
Yeah.
that. He
Was
didn't
it bad
have
on
a good
set?
time. Yeah, so like I sorry if I'm interrupting you here, Albert. But
I wanted to watch that documentary.
yeah, so like he couldn't hear anything because it's a full rubber suit.
Oh,
And so
that
he
makes
literally couldn't hear anything. So no one talked to him ever. So he just kind of stand there alone between every single shot.
that
He
does
said
suck.
he said Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones all got to like do their own interpretations of the character, whereas for him they told him stand here, say this thing this way. And it like really turned him off from acting because he was like, I don't get to do anything. I'm just like a trained monkey, basically. They just like tell me stand here, say this thing, all right, cut. And he like didn't get to explore the character at all. And like being Batman was his dream since he was a kid. So he just had like the worst experience for like the character he wanted more than anything to play.
When I feel bad.
Yeah, and you can tell that from, and you can with that makes so
Bruce
much
Lee.
sense because you can tell that in the performance too, because it's like it's a very like what's the word for it? Like it's very stoic. The
Mhm.
Batman is like very stoic in a way. So yeah. I lost my train of thought, but the last thing I'll say, what's her name? Nicole Kidman, Dr. Chase Meridian. Yeah, she's very horny for the Bats. So
Insanely horny for the
very.
She used the
Although-
bat signal as a booty call.
Yeah, even on par with the Penguin. Oh, and I wish I could bring up the clip, but I don't have it. But there is a scene in this film where Batman just jumps in through the light, not the light, the glass pane, and just I think it's a party scene, and he's just crashed in, and like it's a cool shot, and then and then it cuts to Chase Meridian. Chase Meridian just look around, but an extra in the background that looks so much like Rick Moranis but isn't Rick Moranis is literally like got so excited and it's like, oh, Batman, yeah! And every time I saw that scene, I'm like, this guy is the best. It distracts me from the whole thing because that guy in the background, the guy's like, Batman, yeah! Just so good. If you can look it up, find the Batman yeah guy. I don't know if you can find it. If not, I'll try to clip it out, put it here somehow.
Okay. Andrew, are you next?
Okay. Well, Aiden made me feel bad about loving this movie so much, but I'm gonna get into it. I thought Val Kilmer did great as both Batman and Bruce, but I thought Bruce was really probably his better setup. Okay. I thought they did Dick in a really fun way. Although they're like committed to calling him Richard, which is such a bitch move. Call him Dick, you know. Yeah, so like his suit, super fun. It does the whole thing where it's like, oh, his parents like find Grayson's colors are what inspired him in a much more obvious way because he just wears the same outfit at first. And then I ended up liking his normal suit a lot. The first scene, Tommy Lee Jones is insane, and I haven't seen Tommy Lee Jones like go like that before. Like he's usually like very like stoic.
Yeah.
And so I was like, damn, what's Tommy Lee Jones doing here? And then the first scene that I saw Jim Carrey, I was like, oh, he's got to match this energy. So I now understand why he's doing this. But they're both really fun. I think Billy D. Williams would have been like a really cool Two-Face as well. But I think Tommy Lee Jones did really well with it. I think like one of the worst parts of the movie is Nicole Kidman's character just doesn't get to do anything except for be horny for Batman and Bruce. Like
She's supposed to be a doctor, but she isn't.
yeah, she does not have like a lot of like
Whoa.
character development or like she doesn't get to do much. But I still ended up really liking it just because like first, yeah, I mean I liked Chris O'Donnell's like Dick Grayson, which was like even though it's not like necessarily like very like reminiscent of what Dick is actually usually like. There's some stuff like when he does his own laundry and he's like doing like kick flips, like it's like drying his clothes. I'm like, this is awesome. And I think it does establish the camp really well from the beginning. They let you know what you're doing because he's like, take a sandwich, Master Bruce. And he's like, I'll get fast food. Which is
I'll go through the drive-through. I think.
Oh,
I'll get drive-through.
I'll get drive-through. That's just a funny opener. But I really like that because it also like inherently just places that image in your mind of like the Batmobile just idling, waiting in the like Wendy's drive-through.
Well, see, but the thing that always pisses me off about that line is that it's clearly there so that they can clip it out for the fucking McDonald's commercial. And I'm like, whatever. This doesn't. Why would he say
It's
that?
fucking funny in context. Dude. I don't care. Yeah, it's just like I thought it was fun, and I think it knows what it's doing, which is where I think some execs saw Batman Forever and they were like, yeah, love this, love all the bad shit from this, and then amp that up 100 times for Batman and Robin. So like I just ended up like really enjoying the movie like more than some of the Burton stuff for sure. Just because like its embrace of like the campiness and how goofy it is, and I like it's a fun direction to go with Gotham if you're just trying to do something new, even if it's not like amazing to most people. I thought it was like solid, you know, and so for me, really good. Oh, also, I really like Dick. The whole movie's like, I want to fucking kill Two-Face. And at the end of the movie, I thought that it might be like a showdown between Bruce and Dick, but ultimately Bruce just was like, you're your own man. We might go our different ways. Let's go get him. And I was like, damn, they really just like let him do that. Like, that's cool because then it also makes Dick's character development like a bit better because it's not just Bruce being like, don't you fucking dare. It's like, well, I can't necessarily stop you. Like, we'll see what happens. I don't want you to do it, but you know, I guess we'll see. So it just made the character better to me. But yeah, the weakest aspects are for sure like Kidman's character doesn't get to do anything. Every single one of this movie in this continuity is just like they have to like shoehorn in a line about like, oh, that woman from the last movie who I had intentionally. She left. And then as far as I'm aware in Batman and Robin, they just didn't even try. But yeah, like I don't know. There's some like weaker aspects, but ultimately fun and like interesting takes on characters is what I come to superhero movies for. And I think this delivered on those points. So also I guess it helped that I had lower expectations. I had really high expectations for the Burton stuff and very low expectations for this and Batman and Robin, and I ultimately like ended up that definitely I think affected like how I came out of them. So
I think it's kind of weird that the whole movie Batman is like, hey, don't kill Two-Face, and then he indirectly kills Two-Face. He like throws coins at him and then watches him fall to his death.
Yeah, he just watches them die
after saving several people from that same drop.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Hey, I'm not saying it all makes a lot of sense. I'm just saying it was like a good, entertaining movie, and I did not enjoy it ironically because I think they knew what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think I'll be quick on mine because I think we are running a little bit long here. So what I'll say is that this movie is better than I expected it. I feel like we lump Schumacher's movies into the same bad camp. It's like, oh, Burton was good, Schumacher's bad, and then it's just like there's no in between. But like I think there is a clear blending of trying to be a little bit like the Burton thing. For me, that's kind of why I like it because it still has a little bit of a semblance of that, but also a little bit of the camp. How many times do you think we said camp in this whole thing? By the way,
Someone count the live chat right now.
Not nearly enough.
Not nearly enough, I suppose.
It's like the main takeaway.
Jim Carrey is Jim Carrey in this movie. You either like him or you don't, and I think it works in the context of the character. But he's just Jim Carrey, man. It's the same problem I have with 89 in that way, where it just feels like an actor being the character versus being the character, right? Yeah, Val Kilmer. I like his Bruce Wayne for sure. Pretty good. Like, I mean, we kind of talked about it with the Val thing. Great doc, by the way. Everyone should watch that.
Mm-hmm.
Where he doesn't get to shine as much as Batman, but he still has some moments. Apparently, there's some cutscenes that like add a little bit more to that, which I kind of wish you could have saw. But yeah, anything about the story that happens in the movie is so much less important than the behind the scenes, because the behind the scenes stuff is so funny to me. Like the fact that like Tommy Lee Jones quote couldn't sanction couldn't sanction Jim Carrey's buffoonery, things like that.
I've heard that.
And he was basically so like trying to. I mean, you can kind of tell he's trying to one up him the entire movie.
Yeah.
And I saw an interview with Todd Million Jones talking about it, where he's like, "Yeah, I don't usually play this part, but my kid likes Batman, so I'm going to do that," which I respect. But he's also just so ridiculous. The makeuping on that is something that really turns me away from that Two-Face. I just do not like it. I don't think it works. But I think by the end of the movie, it kind of comes together, and it kind of shows it could have been a slump that they could have gone back to, square with how the franchise used to be, while still having a little bit less dark moments. But they ultimately went the wrong direction, in my opinion, because I don't think they reined in Joel Schumacher quite enough. But it's fine. I respect creative decisions. It just didn't work. I'm gonna leave it at that, I think, because I think we talk forever about Batman Forever.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we move on to ranking this, I think there's a scene that might change our minds in case we.
I just love that. I just love that guy. It's like so good. You're supposed to focus on Nicole Kidman, and then this guy just steals the scene.
Shoves Nicole Kidman out of the way for his 15 seconds of fame.
This is the Megamind thing before Megamind, because Riddler goes, "That's the difference between you two, theatricality." And they just
and Megamind took the dehydrator thing from Batman 66.
Oh, Batman.
Basically, the Megamind writers loved Batman.
Okay.
All right, Aiden, where do you want to?
I see.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's where I would put it.
What kind of high C? Orange, like orange high C, or
Yeah,
grape?
sure. Whatever high C you want.
I put it also at high C as well.
I'd put it at a D, or even since we have an F, I'm willing to put it as an F. But if not, it's a D.
Batman, yeah, doesn't.
I think it's a better made film than Batman and Robin. I just have less fun with this.
That's fair.
And for me, it's top of B to A.
Oh, okay.
On my own tier list, I have it top of B, I think. So
I would vouch for you and just go bottom B, because I really do like parts of this movie more than others. Especially compared to
Albert was willing to bring it to F though as well.
Why do we have all these
okay,
letters?
I'll leave it at D. I'll leave it at D.
All right.
I don't think any of these films are F, so I'm gonna leave it at B.
Aiden wanted to
I
put
think we have too
89
many
at
Bs, and
B,
I kind
we
of
did not take that into account.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I also said I would abstain
do
from
have
that
to
because I
rewatch
knew
this.
it would.
I know, but
That's
like
things
if we're actually including everybody's thoughts on everything, then we have not done that thus far.
Yeah.
We're just changing it to meet Matthew's criteria.
Whoa.
This son of a bitch.
Hey, it'll be your criteria next week.
Revolver S tier.
All right.
You and Owen just flip.
Well, it is majority
every
in
time
C.
you want to put some film in a
The
rank.
majority of 7 and C.
That's fine. All right. Can we get on to Batman and Robin and be done with it, please?
Look, I've got two things
Yes.
to say.
All right.
Okay.
Batman and Robin.
Start.
I'll start, and it's not good. I was expecting it to be a little closer to Batman Forever, but I watched it for the first time, and it's just that is not what I got. Terrible dialogue. Actors are terrible as well. I don't want to spend a lot of energy on this movie. So Albert, we'll go to you.
I think this movie is a little bit more fun. At least when I watch it, I enjoy it more than watching Batman Forever. The camp is really stupid. The Ice Punch is insane. Bane is bad. Ivy is okay. I have mixed feelings about Uma Thurman's portrayal of it. Batgirl is fine. I think Alicia Silverstone is okay as it. I don't remember if she have a British accent in this film or not. I don't think she did. But yeah, anyway, that's probably for good choice that they didn't. The motorbike racing scene is insane. I like Dick Grayson here better than in the previous film. I think sort of like the rivalry of like trying to one up Batman because he thinks Ivy likes him is like sort of like interesting. Clooney is a bad Batman, but it fits here. I mean, like the tone of it fits in here. Like the Bat credit card and everything is so stupid. But yeah, I'll just end my thoughts there. But before do that, I do want to show this picture. This is me at 2002
Aw.
with Batman and Robin. That's my mom.
Oh, that's cute. Fuck. Okay.
Is that actually the actors who played it?
No, this is in Australia. It's a theme park called Movie World, which is all Warner Brothers property.
Okay.
So
I
they
love-
have like
I love
Scooby Doo, Looney Tunes stuff.
That does not look like Alicia Silverstone. I'll just say that.
No.
I can't tell from that sort of picture.
I think I was partly scared of taking that photo. It was like,
Hey, Batman can be scary, man.
how old was I? 2002. I was 3 years old, barely 3. So yeah.
You were scared of the nipples, man.
Girls love a rubber anatomically correct suit. God, that's a
I did
horrible
not get to
line.
that line.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? That's,
Yeah, you did.
Now he's gonna wait for it.
Yeah, you got something to look
Oh.
forward to.
I
Okay, yeah, yeah.
I thought you were already there.
I'm like 30 minutes out from the end.
Okay, it's you're,
Yeah,
you're
you should
close.
be
You're
there.
close to it.
Oh,
She
really?
just,
Okay.
I mean, like her last scene was finding like the secrets. So
Okay.
Okay, yeah, it's a bad it's a bad line.
All right. Before moving on, Cameron sent this before we moved on to Batman Robin for forever.
For forever, nah.
Nah,
And
I-
Rachel
it's
had
not-
forever at B.
Be the Batman, baby.
Yeah, I'll say 3 things. Okay.
are we skipping Andrew?
Skies.
Yeah, what's up?
Andrew, I guess since you haven't
Well-
finished the movie, but like say what you want.
Your call, Andrew.
I mean,
You have
I've
something
got
to say.
some important thoughts, which are Clooney's
Oh,
the
very important.
shit I've ever seen. Like, it literally looks like somebody gave him a script and he didn't realize he was supposed to be acting and he was just reading the lines. Except for
Hey, we'll read.
one scene so far where he shows emotion, and it's when he's talking to Robin and he says, with this delivery and face, he's dying. I can tell. While smiling about Alfred dying.
I remember that. yeah.
What?
Yeah, I didn't see that. And then yeah, the puns can work, right? But oh my fucking god, in this movie, this is what I was saying about Forever. They were like, hey, remember those fun puns we had in Forever? Do that every scene 4 or 5 times. I don't know, man. I think Arnold's trying his best, and I like Arnold enough, but I like everything else. I'm like, dude, I don't know. I don't hold the like visceral hatred that I do for some superhero movies for this one. Besides the like literal like Poison Ivy saying that's why every Poison Ivy action figure comes with a version of Bane or some shit like that. But yeah.
Probably also to clip out and put in a commercial of some
Yeah,
sort.
no, 100% valid.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That's like the corporate stuff that I'm like, come on, dude. But yeah, sorry. That's mine. It's bad, but not the worst out of all of these that we're going to be talking about.
Oh wow, okay. Ice pun, bottom text. I didn't really mention it. I really don't like Chris O'Donnell as Robin in any capacity. I never have. I think
Yeah,
I fucking
It's
hate it.
bad.
I really do. I could see your argument for Forever, Andrew, but he's definitely technically better in that because he actually has character. But
Yeah.
like, chicks dig the car. It's like fuck off, dude.
Yeah.
It's like come
Oh my God.
on. This is why Superman.
Yeah,
works
just the
alone.
opening
It's
line.
Like, come
yeah.
on. Things like that. Yeah, and I think the whole Batgirl part and Alfred dying and the whole thing has a lot of really bad CG. Sky surfing is a thing in the movie.
That's cool though.
It's not. It's really not. It's really fucking bizarre.
I really got to pee. I'll be back.
Okay, yeah, you're.
It's this movie. It's D.
It's bad. It's just like it's funny. I thought I was gonna just enjoy it for how bad it was, but it really is just terrible.
I really have to use bathroom too.
Okay. But
We'll
also,
hold the fort. You can go, Aiden.
I can't hold the fort about Batman and Robin. Are you shitting
Okay,
me?
Keep going,
Yeah, we'll go
Cole.
to Aiden.
Keep
Aiden.
Okay. Okay, if I have to talk about it, here's what I'll
Yes,
say.
please.
George
For
Clooney,
30
Bruce
more
Wayne.
seconds.
George Clooney, Bruce Wayne, not bad. Like I think arguably he works as a charming person there that it makes sense for his Bruce Wayne. For of course, then he has to be Batman again. Bat credit card, obviously we talked about, fantastic. Why is it in there? Who knows? It's so weird.
Expiration date forever.
Oh
Or
right, I forgot.
Infinity, I think, right? Is that what it was? I don't know.
It's not and Robin.
And Robin.
And Robin. Yeah.
Also, Batgirl's costume is trash in this film.
I can hold the fort about other Batman things. I can't hold it on Batman and Robin, Cameron. Toys the movie. Yeah, it is also very much inspired for toys. The fact that they have Arctic suits is just like the epitome of that. And the fact that Arnold Schwarzenegger is top billing, like no joke, he is top billing.
Really?
Like yes, it is Arnold Schwarzenegger, George Clooney, Chris O'Donnell.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think Uma Thurman.
Oh.
It's so weird, but it makes sense because he is the biggest part of the movie, I think.
Clooney was like the ER person at that point, mostly, right?
No, he was the Terminator at that point.
I'm talking about
No, Clooney.
Clooney.
Not Schwarzenegger. I think he had a little bit of role as that. Yeah, but it's before like Oceans and all those movies.
Yeah,
so,
before like
yeah.
all his big stuff, right? So
Mhm.
like he wasn't super well known yet, I think.
I mean, compared to Schwarzenegger,
Yeah.
but it always surprises me that Batman. It surprised me in that movie that Batman is not top billing. I will never understand that. Is Jack Nicholson not top billing in Batman?
I assume Jack Nicholson is, right?
Is he top billing? I don't know. He seems like it. Same problem here, I think.
I don't know.
No, Keaton is.
Keaton is. Okay. There you go. They had the sense to do that. They didn't have faith in George Clooney, which is a very funny statement to say these days, I think. Yeah. All right, I'm done. I can't talk anymore.
Aiden.
All right. This is what I think about Batman and Robin. It fucking sucks. F tier.
All right.
Yeah, we can speed run this one.
F tier. It's the worst one. The worst
yeah,
Batman movie.
I didn't have F when I did this, but yeah, F. I guess. If it makes any sense, it'd be like an F plus.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, because like
I think it's the worst one, more so than Batman v Superman.
Well,
Yeah, I'd
Batman
agree.
v Superman is beneath for me. So D for like I think my usage of the tiers here goes D and F are exclusively for Batman v Superman and Batman and Robin.
Oh God.
damn.
Okay.
Okay. I'm putting it. I'm gonna keep it as what I had in mind initially. It's a D for me. I still it's a worse made movie. I still enjoy it more than Batman and Batman Forever. So. Also, I thought the song "Kiss from a Rose" is from this film because of Uma Thurman, Poison Ivy. It's not Batman Forever. So.
No, it's from.
And apparently it's not even from that. They just reused it.
Yes.
Is what I've heard.
Which is weird, yeah.
All right. Is that so? It's a
yeah, that's 3 Fs and 2 Ds, right? So that would be. Oh, it trashed, but that's fine.
it. Oh boy.
So it's a F then.
Yeah, 3 Fs and 2 Ds, so that's an F.
Hey, no.
Matthew changing his own goddamn
But it's
calculation.
the top of F.
It's not freeze.
F for freeze, yeah.
What do you call it? It's no Albert. It's actually top of F. Yeah, it's not.
Well, there is nothing else in F right now, so it doesn't matter.
Who knows? Maybe there will be. But we have to clarify.
I
it's
mean,
top
I'm
of
not
F.
changing anything. We had 3 Cs for forever as well, so
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's begin
God, that poster.
with Batman
sucks.
Begins.
yeah, and we will start with Albert.
Starting with me. Okay, I did rewatch this recently. Before I start, another photo. Batman Begins. There you go. 2006. Anyway, I did rewatch this recently because it's been a while. I love this film. This film is fantastic. The score, I'll start with the score. Newton Howard and Zimmer makes a perfect combo. And it's just incredible. This is the only Batman origin story I ever need in any live action. Please don't tell it again. I think it just works really, really well in this film. Everything about the motivation of Batman with Ra's al Ghul. with Jonathan Crane, Scarecrow. Everything works really well in here. Gary Oldman is, I think, right now still the best Commissioner Gordon. Michael Caine is the best Alfred, hands down, not even close. So the casting is just great. I love Bale as Batman. I think he balanced out the Batman and the billionaire playboy persona of Bruce Wayne really, really well in just this whole trilogy. But yeah, in this film itself, I love everything about it. Exception is maybe Katie Holmes. I never really. I know people hate her. I never really noticed how bad she is until this rewatch for some reason. I was like, wow, she's not really that good. But yeah, that's like the minor nitpick about it. But I just love this movie.
Andrew?
Favorite Nolan Batman? Favorite Nolan Batman? Yeah. Phenomenal origin, just like a good Batman story at its core. Scarecrow, good, really good villain, and the way that he collaborates with Ra's, the way they play off of just like the business relationship is really interesting. And yeah, I mean, I think they strike the best chord here of how Batman makes people scared, and that includes them being scared of him at the beginning of The Dark Knight, because that is based on this. Like that's the basis for like people being scared of him in The Dark Knight. Great Lucius Fox, which we don't really get in any of his other movies. He's a great character. So it's really cool to see him. And then like making the tech is cool. And also another factor of like this movie is silly and it knows it at times. Like that's what because I rewatched these after I watched The Batman, because I was like curious to return to them, see if I really placed The Batman above them or not, which you'll find out. And like it has fun. Like I get why people are like, oh, it's like gritty, grounded, and then this did inspire that trend in superhero movies a bit more. But it's like there's like plenty of jokes. Like the humor, it just isn't like here's a punchline humor, you know, like it's just like making like silly like plays in the world. There's plenty to laugh at, a lot of stuff to have fun with, and Bale still has a good Batman voice at this point, which quickly devolves in the coming films. Yeah. So yeah, and the suit's cool. I actually I like the suit enough. I think the armored bat suit is kind of a boring take. I'd rather see like cheesy ass spandex, but I still like this one. So yeah. Ultimately, I guess my final point with that, there's just so many other things that do armored bat suits better. That's not important to most people, but it matters to me.
Okay. I think I'm gonna be pretty quick about this because I think it is second best Nolan, but it's also still pretty good. I like it as an origin story. I like a little bit of the fake outs you kind of get with Ra's al Ghul and the training part. And then once you kind of get into Gotham, it's very much embracing what a real city is like, which is, I think, ultimately works to its benefit here, which kind of is rolled into the next ones and has been a trend since in every basically capacity. So in some ways you lose the Gothic and the kind of cool architecture you got from the other ones. But in also doing that, you ground it, you make it sort of realistic, even though there are little like tanks, it's not grounded in that way, but it's just enough that you're like, it makes sense that Batman would have gadgets, and this is what gadgets would look like in this era, right? So in that way, it's great. I'm surprised that Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul works as well as it does. I remember watching on rewatch that definitely I think held up for me personally, which is partly why I think they used it again in Rises in that capacity, because it works. And when you don't have Joker, you know, it's not a bad place to go. So yeah, but overall, Christian Bale is probably I think he's still getting through a little bit of the kinks through it, but he still does a pretty good job here. So overall, though, I do like it. It's one that when people are like the only good one is Dark Knight, I scoff at that. I can't believe when people say that, because really Batman Begins is really it's not as good as Dark Knight for me personally, but it is in competition in terms of like doing interesting things within that trilogy. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Aiden.
Overall, I like it, but this one's a hard one for me to quantify. I guess I can never figure out how I feel about it, and I usually just settle on it's pretty good, because there's a lot of stuff I do like about it, but then there's almost as many things as I'm not really a fan of. So some of the good things, like Albert mentioned, I do think Michael Caine and Gary Oldman are the best Alfred and Gordon, respectively.
Yeah.
Even with Jeffrey Wright given a great performance in the Batman, I still like Gary Oldman more.
That was a toss-up still. Sorry.
Yeah. Love Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox. I mean, everyone in here just does a really great performance. Love Liam Neeson. I could listen to Liam Neeson read the ingredients off a cereal box. I love his voice so much. I really like the look of the Batmobile in this one. I think it's a pretty cool looking Batmobile. Other Bat gadgets, they're pretty cool too. Really love the score. You know, obviously that's been said 1,000 times, but Hans Zimmer, James Newton Howard give a really, really good Batman score. I do like the story. I think it's pretty solid. I think it's an interesting direction for it. I don't know that. I mean, I'm not like a super expert on Batman comics or anything, but I don't think there's ever been a storyline like this one where it's like Scarecrow and the League of Shadows colluding to destroy Gotham sort of thing. And I really liked it. And yeah, like Andrew said, this is easily the best Batman voice of all three movies. It's very clearly Christian Bale still doing it. Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises verges the point of self-parody. It's
Is it really?
Yeah,
dude. Yeah, it really
so,
sucked.
it's so different.
Huh.
Yeah,
I missed
it's
that.
It's honestly, the Batman voice is not a factor ever until those movies. And I
Yeah.
think that's enough of a statement on its own.
Yeah. And yeah, I like Scarecrow. I think Cillian Murphy does a great job. The stuff I don't really like, I don't like the action sequences. Most of it is quick cut, shaky cam sort of stuff of the era, and it's just hard to follow. I've never liked that sort of filmmaking. The pacing is a little slow for my liking. I don't really like the back and forth flashback stuff. I wish that they would have just done it chronologically. Although I mean, it's easy to say that. I don't know if that would have worked as well if they did just do it that way. It's hard to tell.
That's also just like the first 30 to 45 minutes, right?
Yeah, it's not the whole movie, but it's like the first maybe up to an hour. But the pacing is a little. I think it kind of hurts the pacing to just keep going back and forth between
Nolan loves
three separate timelines. Yeah.
Nolan likes.
Ultimately.
What? Nolan like timelines? Wild.
Yeah. Gotham in here, like Cole mentioned, it's not my favorite version of Gotham. It looks too clean, except for like the few shots of the Undercity sort of area.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, I was like, I don't know. It looks pretty dirty once you get to the end of the movie when the train is like literally grimy as hell.
most of the movie
The Narrows as well, not just the Undercity, right?
Yeah, the Narrows, the Undercity.
Those ones, that was a thing until this rewatch.
Those ones look more like the Gotham I was thinking of, but then most of it just looks like Chicago. It is. I don't like the bat suit. Unlike Andrew here, it just looks like a chunk of rubber. Like he still can't move his neck. He still can't move anything. The scenes where he's like crouching on like guardrails or whatever, it's literally like sticking. It's like sticking out the back because it's just a chunk of solid rubber. So it's like his back is arched, but the cape is sticking out way further than his back is because it's just the rubber pushing against it. It just looks really bad. So I do like that they fix. I don't want to say fix, but like that they change it for Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises to make it a little less cumbersome, I guess.
I'm sure Christian Bale like that too.
Yeah, I'm sure all the future Batman actors have liked that. And here's my controversial take about these movies. I don't like Christian Bale as Batman or Bruce Wayne.
Ooh.
I don't think I think he's just kind of boring as Bruce Wayne. I think he doesn't sell me that he's actually charismatic or that he's like an enjoyable person to be around. Like it seems like the movie tells us he is, and it shows us with him, like shows us him throwing around money and like walking in with ladies on his arm, but it doesn't ever, his performance doesn't sell me on that. Like I'm always like, I don't know why these people are hanging around with this guy. He seems weird.
They want to get his money.
Yeah.
Andrew in the back. Andrew in the back.
Aiden, do you mind?
Go for it.
I don't think the point is that he's actually fun. I think the point is that he's a fucking snooty billionaire,
Mhm.
and he looks like he's trying to have fun while he's not. So, for example,
Yes.
the best like reasoning for that is at the end when he has to make everybody leave, and
Mhm.
he's doing the thing, and they're all like, "Oh," and then he's like, "Get the fuck out of my house! I'm
Yeah.
drunk. You need to leave." Like that's Bruce. I
Mhm.
think ultimately.
Okay.
'Cause, like that's like he shows up to the party like 5 minutes before that. Like it's not like he is the life of the party ever.
Yeah.
It's I think he's always supposed to be like that, and that proceeds in The Dark Knight when he's supposed to be like this oafish dude, and that's one of my favorite scenes in there as well. With the car crash.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I guess I can understand
That's like
that.
that's my view of that version of Bruce.
Yeah.
I agree.
think
I
he
agree with
pulled
you.
that off well.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I just Christian Bale in general, I think he's a fantastic actor, but I've never like been a massive fan of him. I've always just been like, yeah, he's fine. His Batman is a different story. I don't like it. Okay, in Batman Begins, he's decent. It's in Dark Knight and Dark Knight Returns when it starts doing the voice, which I know is not really him, but he has a tendency to just leave his mouth flopped open for every single scene. Like for everything where he's not like driving, it's like, yeah, it's like show me one scene in Dark Knight Rises where his mouth is not like this.
Yeah.
At any
It's I think it's a cowl that forces.
It enabled incredible Pete Holmes Batman though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It's just,
Oh,
I know.
how can
I don't think he could have done that if it just didn't look so stupid in
Yeah.
the actual movies. So that's like I don't like his Batman because it looks stupid. And I don't know. I understand it's not entirely Christian Bale's fault for a number of those things, but yeah, I don't know. I could never. I think it's the best in Batman Begins, and Dark Knight is still pretty decent, but Rises is where it really falls apart for that.
It's like there's enough like I think there's enough like surrounding stuff that makes it all like where you can kind of overlook the flaws with his Batman in the
Yeah.
first two, and then when you get to the third and it just doesn't have the incredible plot or the other incredible actors doing quite the same job, the cracks really start to show.
Yeah. So because of that, I think it's my second favorite Nolan Batman. I still like it. I still think it's like a solid B. But it's definitely not in my favorites. I don't think it's even top 5. Let me see.
Wow. Okay.
No, never mind. It is number 5. Just barely. Cole, we will
Okay.
get demonetized if we show clips of Batman.
What is bad? What is
I don't know.
bad?
Have you not seen Batman?
Do yourself a favor and
Oh,
look up Pete Holmes'
Yeah.
Batman.
Great stuff. I'll send you some. I'll send you
After
some.
this. that
The
is,
Dark
yeah.
Knight Rises one is
Paulette
quite
Schumer?
honestly my favorite.
They're
But-
so good.
both of them
yeah.
are. Both of them
No,
are.
oh, the death scene.
The death scene and also
The Batman v Superman one is hilarious as well.
all right.
Oh,
Who's- sorry,
50
who's left?
minutes
Right.
complete series. Holy shit.
Yeah.
So I watched this right before I went to sleep. And
Did
Yesterday.
Scarecrow- was
2
Scarecrow
hours.
in your nightmares?
2 hours.
after leaving Aiden's place, I was like, all right, gotta watch Batman Begins now. And yeah, no, it's a really great origin story. I think there's a lot that I forgot about it because I just hadn't seen it in like
Mhm.
over a decade. And so I was just like, wow, yeah, this is a really good movie. Christian Bale, I do really enjoy him. I don't know who my favorite Batman is, honestly, because I like Christian Bale a lot, but I can't like say that I love him, you know. But what else would I guess? I also I'm surprised that Aiden was the first person to bring up Cillian Murphy because I really like him as Scarecrow.
No,
I think
yeah, I should. Yeah, he's great.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
technically,
obviously,
Andrew brought up Scarecrow, but yeah,
yeah, but not Cillian or Cillian Murphy. I never know how to pronounce.
I
his
don't know
name.
which one it is
Killian,
either.
Killian.
I think it's Cillian.
I'm gonna say Chilean.
I think it's
that'd be funny.
Cillian.
I'm
But
gonna
yeah,
say
he
Chilean.
does he does a great
Chilean.
job.
Yeah.
You guys already mentioned Kane and Oldman and
Yeah, they're excellent.
Freeman. Yeah, as I,
Supporting cast is
Great.
amazing.
Well, how do you think? Okay, because like the script is pretty good, but like, how do you convince Michael Caine to do Alfred, right? Because you got like because it's got to
Throw
be
money
So
at him.
perfect.
right because it's like every other
I mean, it's
adaptation of
Nolan.
him has been like just like milk toast, and so it's like,
Yeah,
or at least in the movies, anyways, right?
I think the
So-
script is enough because Alfred gets some really great moments.
Yeah.
That's
so
true.
I'm sure
Yeah.
the combination of Nolan and like if he read the script and he got to be like, okay, Alfred has some great moments.
yeah, but and Albert was talking about Katie Holmes, and yeah, I agree. She's not very good in this movie, but it's
Is that
fine.
Rachel?
I didn't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rachel.
Yeah,
I didn't
especially it's
I didn't know
it's
it's being bad. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think she's,
it's-
I
It was
think she's
more
fine.
noticeable.
Fine.
she isn't good, but as soon as you compare it with Maggie Gyllenhaal, it's like
Okay,
vast difference.
I can see that.
I don't
they're
think
about-
there's
I think
much
they're
of
about the
comparison
same.
there.
There
yeah.
are moments in this film where Katie Holmes was just like wooden in terms of her
Yeah.
acting.
Yeah.
But Katie Holmes gets
that's how I
more
felt as
time
well.
to be her character in this movie. I think that's the
Mhm.
part of the detriment to Dark Knight is that she doesn't really get a lot of that.
Yeah,
Because
but
she
the
is
parts that
the-
she did really well. That's why.
It's hilarious to not follow up the Batman Begins. What she? It's because she took another project, right?
I think
I actually
so.
don't know.
I don't know.
also,
I thought
one
it's because
thing
you were
that-
just bad.
This movie has some great lines. Like some, I think the lines that actually define the Nolan era better, which are "Why do we fall so we can learn to pick ourselves up?" Great line, and it's not who you are. It's not who you are inside, but what you do that matters. Those are the two defining quotes of the Nolan era, I think. But most people give credit to Dark Knight for some of those concepts. Dark Knight has better laugh lines, but we'll get to that.
All right.
Yeah, and then what Cole was saying about Gotham is that like it is more grounded, which is the entire Nolan trilogy, which is more grounded. But like it works for this movie. It's not the Gotham that I prefer, but still, just great tech as well. And you guys have already mentioned. I just said the same thing you guys have talked about. So yeah,
Batmobile as tank is kind of boring, in my opinion, but
I agree. Yeah.
I think he makes it work in this, but I think conceptually it's just less fun.
It's definitely a weaker Batmobile compared to others.
Yeah. It makes sense. Well, it doesn't. See, this is the thing. It's this line of like where I was mentioning where the tech makes sense that it would be something that could exist and it does exist, but it's just so fucking big, man. Like, why does it have to be so big? To the point where they literally in Dark Knight, they're like, all right, have a pop out motorcycle so that he can get through the mall
Which I
and
think is
things like that.
cooler. I think
Which
the back part is
I agree.
cooler
I
than,
agree.
than the Tumbler.
I like
Oh.
the Tumblr. I think it's cool.
I think both are cool. Yeah.
It's cool to have a name for it, admittedly, to be able to call it a Tumblr
That's
instead of
fair.
like Batmobile or something.
I don't know. No one's mentioned it yet, but the sound effect of every time it like turns and does the
Oh yeah,
like
yeah. That's,
no, like the sound of the wheels are like skidding when it's like
Oh, yeah,
drifting.
And
That's
the
like
bad part
that's
too,
that's I love that.
the best part about it is in Dark Knight when it just turns into a motorcycle.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the coolest part of that.
I
And the
agree.
wheels.
Cameron
All right.
in the live chat saying Rachel is sadly a plot device.
Yeah,
I think less
well,
so in Batman
less
Begins
so
than
in-
Dark Knight, though.
Begins. Yeah, less so
Yeah, I
begins.
mean,
Cameron, you just said a few minutes ago you haven't seen Batman Begins.
Wait, yeah, wait.
I'm so confused.
he might be talking about Dark Knight. He might be talking about Dark Knight.
Yeah.
In the Dark Knight, she is.
I
think in the Dark Knight, probably.
Yeah.
But
Oh, okay.
she's still. It's better than Nicole Kidman and Batman Forever. Admit.
Yeah, for sure. Like she has stuff to do it as like
Low bar,
DA,
but-
like,
Man.
Yeah.
You don't. Never mind. I'm not gonna say it. You don't want Maggie Gyllenhaal horny. Is that you don't want to see that?
That
Alright.
film exists somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving
All right.
on. Let's
All right.
rate this.
Wait, are we ready to rank it?
yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
who starts?
Albert,
Okay.
we go to you first.
Okay. So initially I was thinking A, but the more I think about it, because I only have one film that is S in my original ranking, so I'm just gonna push this up to S as well.
S. S for me for sure. This is my second favorite Batman movie.
Nice.
Top B. Sorry.
Wow. Oh,
Sorry.
damn.
B below Returns.
Wait, I'm curious.
Below
Is that because
Returns.
Returns is one of your favorites, or did you already have it at B?
I already had it at B.
Okay.
I
This,
think,
this,
I
this
think
is the issue with sometimes with tier lists is you start to be like, well, I like this movie more than that.
Yeah, no, I
And that's
understand that.
tier.
I have it at a 7 out of 10. I think it's a very solid movie, but it's I don't think it's, in my opinion, good enough to be A or S.
Okay.
At least for my personal enjoyment of it.
So where does that put that?
What was Matthew's?
Well, you know, I would normally put this in A, but like I want to put it this. You know what? I'm gonna put this in S because I think
Which
I
does
do
that
really
mean top of A or to make it bottom of S?
It's 3 S's and 2 B's, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Would that make it an A?
Can we put a top of A here? So
I
we
mean,
don't
it's
have
at
to fight
least
about it?
top of A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's start there.
Yeah, it's at least top of A, but are we bumping it up to S?
Let's leave it at top of A for now, and then if we do a little adjustment,
I think it's wild that it's an S. I think there are
Yeah.
inherent flaws with the movie
What-
that make it it's second. in
There are
this whole
flaws.
trilogy.
I agree with that.
It's
Um,
the
I
best
just
in
think
the
like
Nolan
the
trilogy.
Batman movies are.
I know you
Yeah.
believe that, Andrew.
It's just no, like you're saying your thing, so I felt the need to say my thing really quick.
yes. It's fine. All right. Let's get to the bad boy, the big bad boy. Big bad
All right.
wolf.
We'll go
F.
to The Dark Knight, and we'll start with
Movie
Andrew.
sucks. I just hate it. You know, it's no Batman Begins. A really disappointed follow up. Fuck you guys for not
Peace out,
getting,
everyone.
fuck you guys for not getting Batman Begins into S tier. So I'm just gonna rail against this movie real quick.
Oh my God.
Um,
Are you gonna sabotage your ranking here for this?
No, I like wrote a mini review on Letterboxd, which is not usually what I do. So I've put some thoughts in there, and I'll probably just parrot a few of those. It's a lot visually better than Begins. I think that's the biggest improvement. It's just more like it has memorable visuals, which is I think the biggest issue with Batman Begins is it lacks some of those.
Okay.
So that's really good. I mean, Ledger's performance, everybody's gonna say it. So
I think we're thinking it's Bruce Wayne. I don't know. I don't know if I think that's Batman. John, I'm not sure.
fairly certain it's Harvey Dent because I
Oh,
haven't
yeah,
finished
that's fair.
The Dark
Well,
Knight yet,
yeah.
but I'm a few scenes
Harvey
in and
Dent
I think
just
it's
said
Harvey.
on the news conference he was Batman.
Yeah.
And I
Oh, so
believe
yeah,
it.
Actually-
Batman. It's right.
It's like-
I
it's
believe
actually-
in
it's
Harvey
actually-
Dent.
How
It's
far
actually
I am
Alfred.
on my first
It's,
watch.
it's
right
actually
now.
Alfred.
Hey Jacob, let's just say this: you got bad Batman opinions. Get the fuck out of here. Just kidding.
Jacob,
We're glad to
you're-
have
Right.
you. We're
I mean,
glad
like,
to have your
look at this.
viewership.
Let me.
If it wasn't for your profile picture, I totally agree with you, Jacob.
Yeah,
no.
Jacob, if you want to chime in, you should have signed up for the show.
Okay, wait, Dark Knight. I'll try to speedrun these. Really 9/11 inspired, like weirdly so.
yeah.
On this past watch, I was like, wow, like this is like so focused on the exact same talking points that were happening at this time about like surveillance and like will we negotiate with terrorists and stuff like that. So that caught me off guard, but for a superhero movie, handled very well. Like as long as you have that nuance in there, I think that's important. One of the you've got a little fight in you. I like that. You're gonna
love me.
that's like an all-time Batman line. That's like really really good. Ledger great. Harvey great. Two-Face is like not exactly the same Two-Face. They just take the like flipping of the coin kind of, but it works really well. Like that's not it's just a different version than we're used to, and it still works. Gordon still really great. Yeah, Gordon good. This is the movie that would make me lean towards the right actually, because I just think he's like following the lines. The little twist where he's like, oh, he's dead, but he's not is good. But like not a ton of character to it, but Oldman handles it really well. And then I really, really like two scenes that like stick out to me. Like there's obviously other great scenes, but like the ones that I think people don't talk about quite as much is like Bruce being Bruce and like crashing the car to save the person who's gonna rat on him.
Yeah.
And then he's like Oldman's like, it's brave of you to do that, and he's like, what? Trying to make the light, and he's like, don't watch the news. And then he goes like, should I go to the hospital? And he's like, don't watch the news, what to do. And he has that like moment of eye contact with the guy who's like trying to reveal his identity. It works really well for like a really cool Bruce moment, which these movies don't always get. And then the ferry scene. I wish I had seen this. I don't think I saw it in theaters because I was like too young at the time. But like when the prisoner walks up and he'll like, I'll do what you should have done 15 minutes ago, and then he takes and he throws it out the fucking room. That's like, it's just a good scene. I like scenes that have a faith in humanity even when I don't. I think it's like I think it's a cool thing to include, especially in a Batman movie that is kind of taking the idea of the Joker, which is that everybody is like truly like less than civilized and we're all just faking this thing. It works really well as a thematical like counterpoint to Joker's whole identity. And so a great superhero movie finale, not because of the fight scene, which that they never have done well in these films that well, but because of that, to be clarified, fight scene and action scenes are different to me. I think these have great action scenes, but not phenomenal fight scenes. So yeah, I think just thematically, the ending is really great. Not because of like a fist fight, but because of how it delivers on these ideas that it's been talking about the whole movie. And yeah, and everything that we said about the last movie that was good basically continues into this one. Like all the performances are really solid, tech's really fun, just like general character development. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Yeah. It's great. It's great, man. I'm good. I'll do the Joker talk. I feel like we haven't. Somebody's got.
I'm not the one to do it because I'm not.
I know somebody's got to do it. It's great, and I think partly it works because it's not. Batman Begins has a lot to set up and the origin and how it ties in there, right? And then Rises uses that kind of momentum to tie it back and give it some finality, right, as a trilogy. Because Joker is just being there and on its own, it works so well because he is a wild card in this whole scenario. The pencil scene is just fucking fantastic. Every time I watch it, it's so good. And it's just so like he's just so menacing, and I think Heath Ledger just does a great job of being unpredictable. You don't know what he's going to do next. And that adds to the thriller element of the movie, which on top of that, Hans Zimmer score in this is like just so iconic. I mean, maybe not necessarily more so than Begins or Rises because it uses a lot of the main theme there. But in terms of like the ratcheting kind of tension that it builds with it is just fantastic. The weird scene where the part where they just go to Hong Kong for some reason always still bothers me in the movie. I know it was basically for an IMAX sequence. And so I'm like, okay, whatever, right? Like we take it as a means of doing some setup and getting some more Lucius Fox part of it, but also it plays into the plot, sort of. It probably could have been cut out or rewritten in a way. But honestly, it's like really the only problem I have with the movie. I think everyone acting here is pretty great. I really like Aaron Eckhart here as Harvey Dent and Two-Face by the end. And I like the decision to ultimately make Two-Face as a CG element there, right? Because I think Nolan talks about it a lot where he wanted to make sure that it wasn't additive but destructive, so it was taking away from the face. And the way that they do it there is pretty great. The head turn moment is just fantastic.
And when he drinks the bourbon that like leaks out of his mouth.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Christian Bale, I guess, is technically getting he's to me he's about the same as he is in Batman Begins. Maybe a little bit better, but not necessarily anything great. I don't think I mentioned it, but I think in the way that Conroy does both Bruce Wayne and Batman very well, I think Christian Bale does both Batman and Bruce Wayne decent, maybe a little bit better as Bruce Wayne, but just decent to me. It suffices all the check boxes, but not necessarily like making me think about his performance in that way. Especially now that we've seen Pattinson there, I think there's a lot to talk about with that as a modern kind of interpretation of it. I think I'm gonna leave it there because I'm sure there's other parts people want to talk about. But yeah, it is my favorite. Still, it's not as perfect as everyone might seem to be. I feel like it was on like IMDb's top 100 one for the longest time, and that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
It's number 4 right now.
Number 4 right now. It's still pretty freaking high. For ultimately a movie that is a really good superhero movie that's also just a really good crime thriller. I think that's part of the reason why it gets so high on there. It gets a lot of praise, but it is really good. Just in terms of full film canon or whatever, I don't know. But yeah, I'll leave it at that.
All right. I don't think that there's anything that I can possibly say that hasn't been said 1,000 times by people far smarter than me when analyzing films. Up until I saw the Batman, it was my favorite Batman film. I think the Batman slightly edges over it. Yeah, I think it's incredible Batman film, great superhero film, just great film all overall.
Okay.
I like it short and simple.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna try to keep it short because you guys have already mentioned a lot. Like, obviously, Heath Ledger is amazing as Joker, and I think Aaron Eckhart does get overshadowed because he's also great, but just doesn't reach quite what Heath Ledger is doing there, and just like his whole character. I think we've talked about Christian Bale's Batman voice. It's worse here, and even worse in Rises, but it's a nitpick, not a big deal. Really like the just ideas of morality and just like good and evil, and like the whole fairy scene that Andrew had already talked about. I just find really compelling, and yeah, I'm just gonna let Albert talk some more.
Yeah. Okay. So I didn't watch this film until 2017 for the first time, and that was because of Logan, and there was the argument of like best comic book movie of all time, and I was a strong fan of Logan, and I saw this film, I was like, yeah, this film is good. I didn't love it, but then every time I rewatch it, it just gets better and better and better to the point where this is just like among one of my favorite comic book films, and still is my favorite Batman film. It's really good. Everything thematically is just like done so well, in my opinion. Andrew has explained it better than I could. But yeah, everything thematically is just great. I love Aaron Eckhart's performance, just the duality of just being the Gotham White Knight as well as being the Two-Face, and like that line. There's so many iconic lines, like you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah,
It's such
that's
a great
really
line,
good.
and it just pays off so well. The whole twists and turns of like of everything going on is like great, even with the crime mob buster. I don't hate the Hong Kong stuff that much. The one that I sort of think could have been done better, and because there's behind the scenes, I believe like Nolan planned to do Two-Face's third film, but didn't happen, so he pushed it to be the ending of this film, which sort of feels like a little bit rushed, in my opinion, the whole Two-Face thing at the end. But I think it still works pretty well and everything. I think this is Michael Caine's best performance as Alfred in the whole series, and this is, if people were doubting, I think he's better here in Batman Begins and in Dark Knight Rises.
Okay.
And like if people are like doubting him as the best Alfred, I think this one solidifies it, especially just the whole performance of. I think what sells it for me is how the thing with the letter with Rachel, and how it pays off as well in Dark Knight Rises. I think everything with that is like great. And yeah, again, so many iconic moments, so many iconic lines. The why so serious? Like, do you want to know how I got these cars? And he tells 3 different stories. That's great.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even talk about that scene. That scene is just amazing too.
Which one?
Yeah.
No,
Some
I'm sorry.
men just wanna
I
walk
think of
the
the
world burn.
second one, right? Which is in
No,
the,
we haven't even talked
gala.
about the opening scene with
Oh, right.
yeah.
Oh, my
One of
God.
the best opening scenes.
It is so
Yeah,
good.
it's the biggest
the
thing I have
best
to say about this
comic book
movie.
opening, I think, like of any
Yeah.
movie.
Oh yeah, I
For
think
Any
that's
comic
the
book
thing.
movie, best opening scene.
Anytime I return to this movie, I expect to like it less because people talk about it so reverently and like, oh, it's such a perfect movie, and I'm always like, okay, I'm probably gonna like it a bit less this time, and that hasn't happened. Every time I watch it, I'm like, damn, this is still so good. Like I keep expecting my expectations to lead me astray, and then it doesn't.
Sorry, Albert. We cut you.
Yeah, but we interrupted because we like your
Yeah.
point a lot.
No, yeah, I mean, I was just gonna quote some other stuff. Like, I like the scene where do you want to see a magic trick and puts the pencil down and
Yeah.
bam, ta-da! And like, oh, what the hell? So good.
It's so good.
And like when he got smacked in the head by Batman in the interrogation room, and then like the light turns on and he appeared and smack. Never stop with the head. The victim gets all fuzzy. Like, oh god, so good. The whole interrogation scene, and like where it makes Batman have to pick with everything. And like I'm pretty sure everyone have the same experience when you watch it first time, and even in rewatch, it still pays off when he finds out that he switched the location of Rachel and Harvey, and then like, oh frick, that's gonna hurt Batman. But yeah, everything about this is good. Like all the improv. Pretty sure you guys have all heard the story of the explosion not exploding, and then Joker just improving. Like,
That's actually an urban legend. I looked that up after the thing.
Is that really?
Yeah, it was a planned demolition to have a pause in it so that they could still do it practically, so they could get the principal actor out of the building to a safe distance and then have the rest of it blow up.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was very scripted, and then it was an internet rumor that he improved it after the explosions didn't go off correctly.
That also makes sense. It's a good,
Still a good performance.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also just I think the closest thing they ever get to this is the Lego Batman movie, but the exploration of the the dynamic and the relationship between Joker and Batman, of like they sort of like the push and pull kind of thing. It just explored really, really well in this one. So yeah.
Okay.
And Batpod, cool, super cool.
Yeah.
Better than.
Oh yeah.
Thumbo.
Oh yeah. Wait. We talked about all of Batman Begins, but yeah, Batbike, great too.
Oh, Batbike, yeah.
Yeah, Batbike,
Yeah,
so good.
so good.
Oh, and the hit me scene is just so good. It's so good.
Yeah,
one?
with the Joker.
Hit me. So good.
They do a
so
little
great.
bat taser in the cowl, which isn't a lot of comic stuff.
Yeah. Oh man.
What's the difference between you and me? I don't wear hockey pads.
Okay, that's the other. Okay, that's the other. Like the two of the greatest laugh lines, I think.
I also
That
like
one
I
is
also like the Scarecrow's in it for a little bit too. Actually, I forgot about that.
Oh, they bring him back every
Yeah.
time.
Every time.
Yeah.
Nolan just loves Killian.
That's true. He's like, hey, you want some work?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I could.
He's
I
in
could
all
put on the
three.
mask again.
He's in
Work.
all three.
Want to be in Oppenheimer? Sure.
He gets his D
You
finally.
mean he asked everybody in Hollywood if it wanted to be on camera right now?
But he has Killian first.
Yeah.
See, but in my head,
Michael
yeah,
Caine
no.
hasn't been announced yet, but he doesn't need to be announced because he's in it.
Michael Caine's like
Isn't he
95
retired?
years old.
Um,
Yeah, I
All
think
right.
Michael Caine's probably retired from acting. I think he's like
no, that
92.
Twitter thing was fake. That's not true. He's
I don't
not.
think
he's-
it's on Twitter thing.
No. There was some Twitter thing. It was like it was like somebody reported it.
I
and then
think-
his account, or there's a fake account that said it was whatever. Anyways,
I think Michael Caine is actually in Florence every day and just waiting for the day where Christopher Nolan is across the table and just like, hey, you want to be in a movie? Sure, I'll be back. You know.
All right, so we'll start with Andrew.
Oh, S. Yeah, it's fine. Still just salty about Batman Begins. But yeah, it's S tier. It's S tier.
you're not gonna sabotage it, bro.
No, I tweeted my rankings and I've stuck to them.
S. It is still like S minus. I know that's such a stupid thing to clarify, but I do have slight. Like I said, I mentioned the Hong Kong stuff. I think just doesn't work.
I don't think you should ever detract from a movie because you don't like a single.
It feels like a side story that doesn't like. There's
To be
what-
fair,
there's-
it's like a 20-minute long side scene.
It's 15 minutes
yeah.
at most,
It
I
just
think.
I don't know. It's a cool way to show some of the technology there, and it gives them a
Yeah,
chance
it's
to like.
a good setup for
Yeah.
the Freeman.
I know. I feel like there's. Why did it? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why it does.
I just don't
on a
understand the
story
hate
level.
for that. I think it's a pretty good scene. You get to see like the glide in and like the cool gadget.
I know. I like the scene.
Really cool.
It just
I like the Hong Kong part.
I'm with Cole. I
sets
think
up the radar
I think,
system.
I think it just kind of kills the pacing because
It
it's
does
just
kill
like
the pacing. Yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
that's my biggest problem with it is that I feel like it's just a little too long.
But like that doesn't kill the movie for me. Like
Yeah, no, it doesn't detract my
Same.
enjoyment of the movie
I
overall,
don't know.
but I do think if they cut that whole section that it would be better.
I think once I learned that it was basically just to have an IMAX sequence in the movie, it makes so much more sense to me.
Oh, I thought because I think it's
Oh.
crucial to developing the Lao storyline, which leads to Joker actually getting control.
And the radar
well.
tech.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I know.
To me, it's like an essential part of the movie. But
Yeah.
You could have done. I think there's other ways you could have done it in the script
Yeah.
there to do the same thing. The detour to kind of establish Wayne as an international thing is kind of cool. It doesn't. I don't think it's necessary. It's a different take for sure, though.
yeah,
Is this the first time in a movie you've seen Batman outside of Gotham, other than like Metropolis?
they straight up crash a helicopter into the Empire State Building in Batman Forever. So no, sorry, the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of
Yeah.
Liberty. So I mean, they don't say they're in New York. There, I don't know how to read.
I don't. Let's not even talk about that. Then we get geography of the DC universe.
Statue of
Yeah.
Liberty's got like a bat cowl on it.
All right.
Oh no, they hit the bat statue.
All right. So, are we all in S, or is there someone A at all here?
Here. To quote Harvey Dent, the world is cruel, and the only morality in a cruel world is chance. So I'm gonna flip a coin. If it's heads, it's S. If it's tails,
Whoa.
I hope it's not. I hope it's not
We're
tails.
all saying S.
it doesn't even matter. We all
Oh,
said
yeah.
yes.
So let's fucking go. It's S.
Or was it always going to be S, bro? Can I see the other
Yeah.
side of that coin?
Yeah.
No, you-
That's a tails. That's a tails as a heads.
It's,
But it literally landed on heads, so it was literally perfect.
S for subpar, right? It's an okay movie.
pretty much.
Yeah.
S for sucks,
All
bro.
right.
All right.
We'll move on to
I know Rises is technically next, but can we
It
just
is
get
next.
BB? Can we just get BVS?
No, we
out of
got
the
to
way?
We got to do the two.
No, you're
We
gonna,
gotta do it.
you're gonna go to Rises.
I don't-
Dark Knight Rises.
We can't
Cole,
talk about Rises for too long, though. That's the problem.
I don't have much to say about Rises. It's
Okay,
fine.
I don't either.
I don't
got
wanna go
stuff
on
to
because-
say.
Fine, fine.
Two of us
Okay.
can take the hit and not talk as much. I think that's fine.
Rises. It's a good sequel to Batman Begins. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah,
but it's
basically.
also basically. Except
What?
it's just. Let me hold on.
Go
Hold
ahead.
on.
Yeah, sorry, I don't.
Let
understand
him
it all,
finish.
but-
Okay, it is. I'll take out good there for a second. It's a sequel to Batman Begins. Less so than Dark Knight. Yeah, I think Bane's interpretation was interesting. I think it's a problem as you get along with Nolan movies where the sound mixing becomes an issue sometimes. And I still think he's menacing in his own way. When you can't get the physical scale of that, they do some creative things to kind of get that portrayed. But the plot of the movie is just like, it's fine. Like I kind of like Bruce as a recluse until he's not, and then he has to make that decision, and kind of Catwoman coming out, basically eventually leading him out of that. But if you told me to like account the plot of this movie right now, I haven't seen it in like at least 2 years. I could piece it together, but I generally there's so much that I'm lost on of that movie. Also, the Robin thing is stupid to me. I don't care. It doesn't make any sense. It's its own take, sure, whatever. Like the idea that anybody can be Batman in that way. That's kind of what Robin is, but it's just not. I don't know. Feels weird to me, especially that he's a cop in that way.
I don't think.
Huh.
Yeah,
Robin
But-
can be anyone as long as they're an orphan.
Robin.
Right.
can be-
right. That part too. I still think Michael Caine is best here because he has a lot to work with. Even if he gets really dramatic at the end. But you know, like I like it, man. That's the part I always look forward to. Yeah, and then I think the whole Talia al Ghul thing is like whatever. It's a twist that is there because you can't make Bane the person who's the mastermind in this scenario for some reason. It's a choice. It's fine. but it also, I think, in terms of being a sequel to The Dark Knight, it doesn't pose the questions that Dark Knight was, like we kind of talked about there. It, like I said, it's a sequel to tie up loose ends, but to also, it feels a little bit like a cash grab in that way, but it's still a well-made film. It's just, there are just problems with how they set it up and kind of decide the direction they go. I don't think a rework of a script could do much here, because inherently it's set in from the beginning and you can't really get out of it. Visually though, it's basically meeting the levels of Dark Knight. So I mean, you have to appreciate it on that level. I do like the whole fact they put the cops underground and all the cops are trapped is just, it's so ridiculous to me. Like it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like that, there's no off-duty cops, there's no like nothing there. It's like, sure, we got them all in the tunnel and we trapped them, and then the final sequence there is kind of interesting. All the groups kind of, and then just the giant brawl in the square is fine, I guess. It's cool, but it's a choice, I guess.
I think fine, I guess, is like a really good summary.
Also, the clean slate thing is stupid. I don't.
I forgot about
You want to
that.
erase your database for the rest of the world?
No, they wasted Burn Gorman.
Yeah, and then obviously we could joke
You have
about the
Hayden
ending.
Dillon here too.
I was gonna joke about the ending, so I'm gonna leave that to somebody else. So that's all I have to say. My very scatterbrained thoughts on a trilogy ending that's also very scatterbrained, in my opinion.
All right. I got all my notes up.
Yeah, let's go.
I hate how Bane looks and sounds in this. I think it's so stupid. I like the original voice of Bane was even worse. It was like, but like I think it's like in the first trailer for the film, you can still hear the original version of it. Or maybe it was like the first early previews they showed to some people.
Yeah, it was. I think, as I understand it, it was an IMAX preview that they did before some movie. And people were like, we can't understand what you're saying.
So like Bane was so uncoherent that they redubbed all of his lines, and now it's just bad ADR. So now
I'm sort of like this. It sounds like this.
I wonder what will break first, your spirit or your body?
I was born in the dark.
It's another
Ruled
fun
by it.
voice to do. To the credit of Nolan, he developed two fun,
You merely adjusted
identifiable
the dark.
voices.
That sounds like
You know
Jar
what?
Jar
Now you're
Binks.
making it sound like Jar Jar. Yeah.
Lisa,
He's born in the dark.
Lisa Brick Gotham. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I hate it. It's I don't think it works at all. I like Tom Hardy. I don't agree with this interpretation of Bane. I've already mentioned how much I don't like the bad voice in this movie, or how Christian Bale just has his mouth flopped open like a fish at every possible scene. Okay, so I think it's a good to distinguish between, like Andrew said, action sequences and fight sequences. Action sequences in here are pretty good. I think the practical effect of actually like ripping the wings off the plane mid-flight is pretty cool. Like that's all practical. They actually did that to a plane, which is pretty neat. Fight sequences are dog shit. They're awful. So like I appreciate that it's no longer quick cut, like hard to see stuff, but what we get instead is terrible choreography. Like the sequence on the rooftop where Batman and Catwoman fight the bunch of goons, like for the first time, it's awful. Like there's a whole bunch of goons that just fall down or like act like they get hit in the background when nobody's near them. And it's very clearly because it's like supposed to be a long take sort of thing, but like Anne Hathaway misses some of her cues. And so they like, I need to be on the ground right now, but she's missed it. So I'm just going to fall down. That's
the hard work of a stunt person being like, this is my job. I mean, I should be on the ground right now.
Yeah, it's very distracting. And like this fight scene where Bane fights Batman and like the waterfall area, I think it's pretty bad too. Yeah. It's just like the same smack sound effect like a whole bunch of times, but a whole bunch of the hits very clearly aren't connecting with the other person. They're like at least a foot and a half away, and I understand they're not actually hitting each other, but it's not even convincingly close for some of them. And it's just, I don't know. It's just the whole fight choreography in this thing felt very sloppy, especially like the last fight scene at the end, like the brawl in the square. They all have guns. They literally all have guns. They shoot 2 shots at the other side and then throw away their guns and start punching each other. All of the bad guys have AKs. Why are you just standing there and like letting them come to them without shooting?
They all got their
Maybe they run out of ammo.
They
You never
shoot
know.
like 3 cops on the initial charge, and then like, all right, guess we're brawling.
They run out of ammo.
I
Okay,
don't,
wait,
I don't
before you go on,
understand.
can I say I didn't mention it. At the back break is fucking. It sounds weird too.
Yeah.
That's my biggest takeaway from it. It's not that it's its best attempt of trying. It just sounds weird. Why does it sound so?
I don't
fucking
know.
Weird?
All the sound.
Have you heard of backbreak before, Cole?
No, it just doesn't. That's not.
Well, let me demonstrate.
I don't know. All the sound effects in here for like the fight sequences just sound like stock audio.
Damn.
Which they probably are. I don't know.
Audio gets used in major pictures all the time.
Yeah. I hate Alfred quitting on Bruce Wayne. I think it's such a dumb plot development, and then he's just gone for most of the movie. It's like like Michael Caine is in there for like 10 minutes.
That's why I can't get with you on Best Alfred, Cole. Yeah.
I'll defend Colin saying that I think the lines that are given to Alfred are among the best ones in this whole film.
Oh yeah, he acts the hell out of those 10 minutes, but he's barely in the film.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think on a technicality, even though it's only 10 minutes, it's best stuff.
Yeah.
You know what's Alfred better? Batman Begins.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many weird and stupid choices and ultra convenient things that happen in the plot. It's like I said in my review on Letterboxd, the script must have looked like Swiss cheese because there's so many plot holes in it.
How did he get to the other side of the world?
Yeah, how did he
care
jump?
about
How
it.
did he jump out of the plane when it's going nuclear? When he has 10 seconds left, and the only way he could possibly done that is glide.
That part's dumb. That part's dumb because they could have just cut one of the shots of him in the plane.
Yeah, exactly.
Like in the editing bay, they could have just been
they
like,
could,
"Oh,
yeah,
you shouldn't still be in there. Let's cut that."
yeah, exactly. They could have done that in the editing thing. How did Bane know to blow the thing in the sewer exactly below where he stored all his tumblers?
Here's the thing, Aiden, is that he actually had a refrigerator in the Batwing. And when he hopped in that bad boy.
Perfect
Glad-
sense.
Yeah, of course. Indy has shown us many great things,
He had
including how to survive a nuclear
1950s
bomb.
refrigerator. To be
Yeah,
fair.
exactly. Yeah.
Not like a modern Samsung.
So
It's
Wonder
like-
Woman wouldn't do it.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like yeah.
I think Anne Hathaway is the worst live action Catwoman.
Wait.
Over Halle Berry?
Okay,
Wait.
in a Batman movie. In a
In
Batman
a
movie.
Batman movie. Of the
Oh.
movies we are ranking, I'm not counting Catwoman.
You know, I could still stand by that because Anne Hathaway in this movie is just boring.
yeah,
At least
that's
Halle
my
Berry's, like
that's my
crazy.
thing. Anne Hathaway is just boring.
I
She's
like-
so bland. And like
say
every
because-
other interpretation is at least decent or doing something. She is not. She's just there. She's just kind of there. So I think that's largely how I categorize all of Anne Hathaway's performances, actually, with the exception of Les Mis.
Boo!
Wow.
Dude, you don't get.
I think
it.
she's just boring.
Devil with Prada, Colossal.
She's
What a-
fine.
What about the intern?
Where's Prada?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt as well, just kind of a actor who's just there. I also hate the Robin reveal. I think
It
that's
just, it doesn't add
it's
anything.
just
I think-
shoehorned in there to be like, oh, look, it's I know that name, which is,
Leo pointing me.
yeah, exactly. Leo
We
pointed
are
me.
talking about this more than I was expecting.
I told you I have thoughts about this one.
Goddamn it.
Marion Cotillard is fine as Talia, but she's the worst death scene I've ever seen of any character in any film. It's so bad.
Of any film?
Yeah, the worst death scene I've ever seen on film is it's awful. I don't understand why that's the cut they went with. Yeah, I don't know. The movie looks good at least. Michael Caine, Freeman, Oldman, Bale, everyone's still doing a really good job with their roles. I still don't really like Bale as Batman, but at least he's doing a good performance. Hans Zimmer's music, great.
like the worst Batman in this too, though. Like that's the
Yeah,
thing.
I know. It's yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's too long as well. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes. It doesn't need to be that long.
It's not the longest Batman film.
No, but by 15 minutes it's not. And the longest one actually deserves it. So this one doesn't. I don't know. It's not what?
Batman v Superman?
That the ultimate edition is 3 hours. The theatrical is 2:35.
Okay. I thought you were saying that BVS deserved 3 hours. I was like,
No, the Batman
Batman.
is 3 hours and
Okay.
1 minute or something like
Yeah,
that. I don't know. It's not terrible, but I think the bad things outweigh the good things to just make it just, I guess, like Andrew said, fine. I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Every time I rewatched, I like it a tad less. And I rewatched
That's
it.
the sign of a great movie. Okay. Hey, all great thoughts, Aiden.
Right.
Thank you.
Aiden, is that all?
Yeah, that's it.
I'll try to
That
keep
is
it short
My thoughts.
because Aiden
Thanks, Matthew.
said a lot about this movie. But yeah, I mean it's fine. I watched it again today because I haven't seen it since theaters, and it's fine. I don't like Tom Hardy as Bane. I don't think Bane's a very good character. I don't think the Talia al Ghul review is pretty stupid. Bad script.
It's not.
You know,
it's
it's fine.
Pockets of it. It's just it's weird
Yeah,
that like
but it's not
they just don't
bad.
care about it.
It's fine.
It's not a motivated script. It's not even that badly written. It's like
No.
it's just well.
Mhm.
Hold on. Well, I should say that in terms of dialogue maybe, but in terms of where it scripts out things and events, it's. I think you're right, Aiden. It's like Swiss cheese. Like it doesn't. Oh, sorry. Continue. I apologize.
Matthew, sorry.
Um,
I think it was
yeah. Okay. So you guys were talking, so I just like didn't want to keep going, but yeah. And then I would also agree that Anne Hathaway is probably the worst Catwoman. I don't hate her though, but I don't think she's like that good. She works in the movie, but like the movie overall is just it works. It's fine. Yeah. We keep on saying it's fine, and yeah, I don't have anything else to say. I'll go, Albert.
I think I might like this film more than most of you. Upon most recent rewatch, which was earlier today, I did like it less than my previous rewatch. But in my previous rewatch, I liked it more than my original watch. So it's like up and down. But I do still think I still think that this is a pretty good movie. It's not as good as Batman Begins. It's not as good as The Dark Knight, but I think it holds up well. The score, I'm not the biggest fan of. I think missing Jameson Howard does something differently with the whole score. Zimmer doing it alone, just like it lacks something with the whole score. I like that they are adapting the No Man's Land storyline in a way, sort of. I think it works pretty interestingly. Andrew and Cole have thoughts as they smile as I say that. Curious what they're about to say.
Please
Feel free to
finish. I
chime in right
apologize.
now if you want.
No, I'm not.
You
Please
just
finish your
gotta stick to
thought.
facial reaction.
Okay, fair enough. I think this film does have pacing issues. I agree with that. The airplane sequence in the opening is pretty cool. I like that sequence a lot. The bat is a bad name for the flying thing that the Batman used, but the design is cool.
Why is that? Why is that the thing people get hung up on? I don't get that.
I mean, you got the tumbler and you got the bat pod, and then you
It's
got
the
the bat.
It's the bat wing. Clearly.
They just call it the bat, but yeah,
Yeah.
Bats do fly.
fair.
So
fair,
do-
you got a point.
Pigeons and birds.
Anyway, I don't think the Talia reveal was bad. I think it was fine. I do not like Bane as a villain though. I think he's a physical threat for sure, especially for an aging/aching Batman, which Bale did a good job of portraying, like just crippled dude. But I think Bane physical threat good. but he is not at all intimidating, especially after Joker, especially with that voice. Like, if I see a big dude, like, okay, that's pretty scary, but he starts talking like that, I'm like, huh, cool, all right. I'm like, if I'm the Batman, I wouldn't be like too intimidated by him. So it's like it's a.
Can I also add, Albert, as somebody who's seen
Yes.
the Harley Quinn show, when they basically pull that as a part of that.
Yeah.
So now every impression that I hear, I also think of that, and
Yeah.
he's just very goofy in that too. And you're like, it doesn't help, but it's great.
Yeah. But yeah, no. I think Catwoman is cool. I definitely think Anne Hathaway did better as a Selena Kyle character than the Catwoman itself, which is the exact opposite of Michelle Pfeiffer. But I like some of the stunts that she did with the Batpod. So yeah, their dynamic between the two are just okay though. It's not the best. The chemistry wise between Bale and I think they have good chemistry, but I think it's just not. The dynamic are not written that well between those two compared to the other Catwoman Batman dynamic. But yeah, as a whole, I still enjoy this movie. I still can. Again, my biggest issue is just the pacing, but everything else I still pretty enjoy it.
Okay.
Yes.
A common theme of Batman as a whole is the idea of the downtrodden, and Batman trying to stand for them, even though there's obviously some criticisms to be had there. And so I like Selena Kyle's little plot here. What's that line of hers? What is it?
I'm sorry they took your money.
Yeah, that's it. No, what's the line where she's like,
What is it about?
The day is coming, Mr. Wayne, where like all of this, like, because she's like at the rich person party, and the whole point of her character, which is like what she is often in the comics, is like she's like this street rat that has like just trying to survive for herself. And so that I like Selena in this more than Returns as well. Not necessarily Catwoman, but Selena. And then so that part's cool. And I don't hate the Bane voice. Those are my two takes. You guys have said everything else. Cool little moment before Bruce fake kills himself, where he reveals himself to Gordon. But otherwise, yeah, not a big fan of this one.
I do like that. I do think the Batman parody of that was very funny.
Yeah. I like the moment. It's not like a perfect moment. None of these movies are perfect, but there's like good moments in this one, I think. But ultimately, not a great movie.
All right, are we ready to rank it?
Yes.
Okay.
Cole, go ahead.
Where do I have it? I think I have it at C, but I would put it. Oh, this is tough. I feel like we're bashing on it a little bit. I would still say above Forever. I think I'm okay with saying that. I would say C above Forever there.
Aiden?
Yeah, I'd also do C above Forever.
That's where I'd put it. Yeah.
I put it B above Returns.
That's fine.
I'm C below Forever, so
because I like Batman 89 better too.
I think it's still C. I like Batman Forever more. So
I'm fine with putting.
I literally have it in my tier list. It is the lone C tier for me. So
So did we? I think that what goes here then.
I said above.
That works.
I can put it either above or below.
Have it
I
at
don't
C,
care.
so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I would need to rewatch it again to kind of finalize. So I'm gonna trust you.
Yeah.
guys.
Let's flip a coin.
No.
No.
Find a coin and
Hey,
lost the
clean
coin.
slate.
Let's get Sarah to call in and try to bump this bad boy
Found
up.
it.
No. Oh, I'm going for Batman v Superman, aren't I?
I can go. I don't
yeah.
care. I'll talk
No,
about
I can go.
What?
I have
There's
my
an order here.
We gotta
Just
follow
disrupted
order.
the
It cannot be
natural
chaos.
thing.
Mostly because I
Anything.
will probably be
Mr. Joker.
defending it more than
Yeah.
most here.
If anything, we learn from these
defend
films.
this?
We cannot do
I have thoughts.
Then you should come at the end for sure.
Yeah,
Because,
I
we
have
will-
thoughts why it's bad.
I'm gonna start by saying
I know
I-
most people are gonna
wait,
think it's
okay.
bad, so let's
Order. We need order.
Oh, you're being
Okay.
contrarian. Okay,
I'm
Okay.
not being
gotcha.
okay. So first of all,
What, Matthew?
I'm not gonna say anything on this movie because I haven't seen it since theaters. A
Whoa.
lot of my opinions on movies have changed in a long
3
time.
times.
So I'm gonna start. Go, Aiden. Go start.
All right, just thinking about this movie makes me angry. So I'm just gonna I'm just gonna read my letterbox review I wrote for it verbatim because I don't want to have to think about anything else. All right, so I said just awful. Even watching the extended ultimate cut didn't improve it. This is the Transformers of superhero films. Clunky, awkward dialogue, almost universally bad or cringy performances, a completely nonsensical plot, largely boring action sequences, and much more. Zack Snyder is so focused on style over substance that he tries to make the coolest looking superhero film he can while ignoring basic narrative structure or coherent plot. But nothing in this film looks or sounds as cool as Snyder clearly thinks it does. Snyder fundamentally doesn't understand who these characters are, or he just doesn't care. The Dark Knight Returns and the death of Superman are the obvious comic influences, but I'd be shocked to learn that Snyder did more than glance through them. The film has all the maturity and emotional depth of a child smacking their action figures together. Even the titular fight between Superman and Batman manages to be underwhelming and ends in the dumbest way possible. The fact that the DCEU continued after this travesty is shocking. Credit where credit is due, though. Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL write a great score here. The Wonder Woman theme is iconic. The opening sequence is much improved in the extended cut. It's actually a pretty decent scene now that it's been built out a little more. This is also my favorite live-action Batmobile, even if I don't necessarily agree with it having machine guns. Batman's fight in the warehouse towards the end is very well choreographed and is probably the only decent fight scene in the whole film. Too long didn't read. Skip this garbage.
okay.
Great review.
Great review.
Thanks.
I did. I just love picturing Zack Snyder like pulling out of this bin of like Tupperware. Like, where's Cyborg? I don't want to play with him. Oh, and Martha. All right. Well, technically it'd be Matthew, but he's not.
Albert.
Go ahead, Albert.
Okay. I like this film fine. I think it have pacing issues once again. I'll just start off with the opening of the film. I think the POV scene from Man of Steel, from Bruce's perspective, that scene is well shot. And I think that's an awesome opening way to start the film. And like I think the choreography for Batman is great in this film. I think this might, in terms of choreography, might be my favorite. I need to rewatch The Batman again because I think it's the only one that maybe comes close to in terms of choreography. But I think the fight scenes of Batman itself is good. Luthor is weird. He's feeding some senator, some like Jolly Rancher, which is like okay, cool. And like the court storyline with Superman, I think is it's interesting political perspective of like, oh, what you gonna do with this being. So I find that interesting. I really enjoy most of this film. I really do, until the Martha scene. Like literally, even that fight scene alone have great moments until they had to pull out the Martha card, and the film pretty much just goes downhill. The only redeeming factor after that is like when Wonder Woman appears to join the fight, but like everything else is just like pretty horribly written, and like it's just a bad decision after bad decisions, like pulling out the Doomsday card, killing the Superman card. Like everything is just like bad choice, especially since they're trying to build out the universe, and it's just like poor choices made. So yeah, it has its moments, but again, like third act awful. So yeah, I'll just stop at that for now. I might
I'm
chime in again
depressed
later.
because I realized there's 2 BVS defenders in this chat. I just lost all spirit.
Who's the 2 BVS defender?
You and Cole,
wait.
apparently.
Just wait, okay. To be honest,
I don't defend BVS.
I don't even think it's fair to rank it here in this listing.
I
So
agree.
let's-
There should be 6 tiers below Batman and Robin. That's where this
Oh,
belongs.
Christ. Stop.
Okay. This is my. Okay, that's tough. It is a strong contender for my least favorite superhero movie ever made. It is bloated. It is fucking boring. It doesn't do anything interesting with great characters. The one scene that I think everybody agrees is good, he made worse when he got to make more changes to it, like adding blood smears and shit. So Batman is truly just murdering those men in the warehouse. Whereas like you had some deniability before that. It's just like I truly think the worst thing a superhero movie can be is boring. Besides like actively harmful to society, but we don't have many of those. I don't think. I can't point to one. I'm sure they exist.
No.
It's just, dude, it's like hard to even talk about for me because like I forget stuff about it and then somebody reminds me and I get angry again. I saw this movie twice in theaters in 3 days because I went to see it with my brother, and then my friends on senior skip day were like, let's go watch this. And I was like, I mean, okay. And then I saw it again for studying purposes, and I truly wish I had taken notes so I didn't have to fucking watch it again, which I probably will at some point.
I'll give you my notes.
Thank you, Albert. It's just depressing to me, man, that a movie like this can be like made. I am now a Snyder fan. Call me a Snyderhead after watching Zack Snyder's Justice League. But this movie, just like this isn't even just against Zack Snyder. I mean, like it's his fault that the movie's bad, but like I like him as a director still. Because he's at least interesting, but it's like all style over substance, and then the style isn't that good. And then it's like he doesn't give a shit about Superman as a character. I don't know why they started him with Man of Steel when he so clearly doesn't see what makes the character interesting. Can I play a 30-second clip real quick? I'm gonna have to share my screen.
Oh no!
Okay.
You guys got to bring up clips. I don't have time to video edit.
So we're not allowed to put Batman in, but you're gonna pull in a clip from an actual
Batman,
movie.
yeah.
No,
Like
I'm gonna play this.
Okay.
Very soon.
Yes. I'm sorry.
I don't need this part.
Do you
but
stay with
it's
me?
fun.
I'm scared.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, so it's just like the most boring take you can have on Batman is like it's like, oh, he's a like murder man because he dark. Like it's just like the cool stuff is when you get these moments of this dark brooding character who's haunted by his past, choosing to overcome it, to comfort the people around him, to save his city. And this is a movie about a plotted assassination by that man instead. Like it just sucks, dude. F tier, F tier, F tier, F tier. Go ahead, BBS apologist.
This is why I want to get it out of the way. You fuck. What am I supposed to do now?
That's the Cosmonaut Variety Hour video on the problem with DC heroes.
Anyways,
it's good stuff.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not a great film by any means.
Or even a good one by any means.
Maybe not even a good one, buddy. But listen, I know we're talking about how it's very visually, it's even visually muddled in some ways, but like everything is motivated by things that don't align with existing notions of character, right? And I think what's interesting in looking at all of these films is that there is a different Batman in almost every one of them, and I'm not saying that it morally makes a whole lot of sense, but for what Zack Snyder is doing, it I guess it makes sense. And you know,
Is that
and
the
there's
argument of the Batman who's crossed the line and he has to find his way back?
I guess because that's kind of what he tries to do with Justice League, and then it's not when the plot gets too big, and then there is a difference to me between Batman in Gotham and Batman as a Justice League member.
Yeah.
And so the way that happens, it doesn't. Also, by the way, he has no right in being in that Doomsday fight at all. All he does is shoot kryptonite gas.
Wait, Cole, are you saying that those montage sequence where he's working out does not pay off?
I'm sure.
I forgot about those, and I hate them.
Yeah, he's about to fight Superman, the alien who can literally stop the fucking sun, and he works out. Cool.
I know, but listen, hey, I think those sequences, they're as badly motivated as they are. They are visually good to look at, and I think they're on a spatial level, it's interesting. Although I think Doomsday as a choice, like most people have said, doesn't make a whole lot of sense because it's a way of doing it too soon for some reason because it's an iconic thing people want to see. Except it just looks like Doomsday baby bald, like weird gross thing. Lex Luthor is terrible in this. Jesse Eisenberg, man, like what are you doing? Dude,
you know what's funny? If they ever tried to bring Superboy into this universe, they'd have to justify how Lex plus Zod equals Doomsday. Lex plus Superman equals Connor Kent. That'd be so funny.
Good thing they won't. They can't.
No, they
Their
can't.
movies all got delayed till next
It'd be
year.
like it'd be Timothy Chalamet as Superboy.
Oh no! With the glasses and everything, like 90s
Bobby
Superboy.
Amell.
All right. Anyways, listen. Anyways, I can't say it's great, but I don't think the guttural reaction that a lot of people have is necessarily justified because on a scene by scene level, it's interesting in some ways. I like watching it. I know it's maybe in that way that Transformers is visual garbage, but also just a lot's going on. I think these fight sequences are well, not fight sequences. They're not even really fight sequences because it's all CG at that point. But like, we'll call them action sequences. Are fun to watch. I don't know, man. Ultimate Edition does help here. I think it does, and it's probably necessary. Shout out to Turkish Airlines, which they shoehorn into the movie too. Those Turkish airline ads, though, for Gotham and Metropolis are great.
Dude, this was my most anticipated movie for like 3 years.
Because of the Turkish airline ad?
Yeah. He's a big Turkish airline fan. Anyways, I think I'm not gonna say anymore because I feel like I'm gonna speak with my rating.
I'm being mean. You guys, I'm sorry if I hurt anybody's feelings. I feel strongly.
Yeah, I think Zack Snyder's crying right now. It's because of me.
I'm a Snyder head.
I didn't like my movie.
I'm literally a Snyder fan now.
I'm gonna share the link to this live stream with this exact time code and tag Zack Snyder.
Great, I'm talking about how I love it.
Andrew's a really big Legends of Guardians Owls Gahul fan, you know.
Owls of Gahul.
So yeah.
It's Guardians of Gahul. You
Really
whatever, I
like
don't fucking care. It's not like you care. Like you fucking care, please.
We're losing it.
All
We
right.
definitely are.
We'll start with Aiden with your
F. No, unquestionably F. No redeeming quality except for the two things I listed.
I want to put it over Batman Forever, so I guess I don't want to put it at a C, but I got to put it over Batman Forever.
No,
so
you don't. Rank it on your own tier.
Okay.
No,
Don't listen to here. Yeah, rank it on my own tier. Guess what? My own tier. It is a C. It is a C in my own tier. So
I would have put Phantasm at S to make sure it was top of A, but no, I stuck to my gun.
yeah, no, my own tier. My own tier. It's a C. It's a C in my own tier. It's right here. I can see.
Don't know why you needed the clarification then. Don't know why you brought that
I
up.
don't know why too. It's weird. Maybe because I see a gap on the D and I feel like, oh, okay, I get it clarified.
Yeah.
Okay.
F.
Wait, who's
I know that's surprising, but
Yeah, no, Andrew already said F immediately after his review.
I
of
said it after mine, but now we're going through our tiers. I just want to reiterate.
Okay. It would be. It's all wonky, but it'd be bottom C.
So I think that 2 Fs and 2 Cs just goes to D then.
I guess.
Wait,
So.
Matthew, so you're abstaining here.
I'm abstaining. I just don't feel like I can be
Okay,
a fair judge
Can
for
we
someone who
place
hasn't
it
seen
and then hear where you would place it?
When I watched it in theaters, it would probably be in C. But I
Great.
feel like
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just have,
Good thing we already placed it at D.
but I feel like it's fair if we put in D since I just haven't gotten a chance to rewatch it.
I want to make sure if you post this, make sure my name is actively excluded from this tier list.
Make sure to tag him. You know.
All right. Well, I mean, I guess I'm starting with the Lego Batman movie, which I also haven't seen since theaters and did not get a chance to rewatch. But I just remember this being really funny, just comedy on Batman and like also just Batman and Joker and their relationship and like I don't remember anything super specific though. So Albert.
I love this film. This film is great. Like I mentioned in The Dark Knight, how it explores the psyche of Batman and Joker. I think this film does it slightly better in a comedic way. And like I love that this film it really understands the character, and all the jokes work because they understand the character, self-aware, and are like willing to explore and make fun of all the previous stuff. Like they address all the previous films in existence, and they make fun of it, and it's great. Like all the jokes are funny. We make fun of how in the Dark Knight Rises, the Robin reveal is like bad. In this one, I think is great. There is the line in the ball, and it's like, "Oh, my name is Richard, but everyone in the orphanage call me Dick." They're like, "Oh well, kids can be cruel sometimes." I think that's great.
That line is so good.
It's great. Again, the whole character dynamic, I think it's written really well. I want to say, yeah, I think I'm gonna say it's one of the best written, if not the best written Batman film, just because of how they understand the character so well. And like just adding all the other characters that they have IPs to, like the King Kong and they got Voldemort, but it's not voiced by Ray Fiennes because Ray Fiennes already voicing Alfred.
I do love that part of the movie. They had to go find somebody else.
It's so funny, dude.
And yeah, they got all the other villains and everything. It's just a lot of fun, and it's really smart, and it's a well done film. Wasn't expecting it the first time around to really enjoy it, but it does a great job.
Right.
Agreed. There's a clear love for the characters, and that's like I think one of the most important parts of any Batman movie. Even if they're defying the original characters, I think it's cool to in any situation see that it's coming from a love of the source material, and you're working with that. The first two acts I think are perfect. Like really, really solid stuff. Great casting all around. Good follow up to the Lego Movie, which is also an excellent film. And who plays Gordon again?
Hector Elizondo.
Okay, I didn't know that. But yeah, a lot of cool Barbara. I mean, we don't get a lot of cool Barbara, so fun Barbara. The third act just becomes like a meta, like Warner Brothers property sort of thing. I guess not even Warner Brothers necessarily, right? Because like Lord of the Rings is Lord of the Rings Warner Brothers?
Nope, it's not.
Or it's New Line Cinema, but I don't know who has the
That's under
distributing
it's all under
rights.
the same umbrella. People
Yeah,
would
I'm
say.
pretty because they made Lego Lord of the Rings, so I'm pretty sure that they own.
King Kong is not Warner
distributing
Brothers
rights
too. So
Yeah. Well, the end
Is
the
it?
end just becomes
At
like
this point, it is.
Okay.
the
That's
end
where
just
it gets
becomes,
complicated with rights and shit.
it becomes
Don't-
too much of a big meta thing for me. So to me, the ending falls apart a little bit, but I still ultimately really enjoy the film.
do you have a clip or something? Is that why we're?
I don't know what's happening. I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay.
Matthew lost it.
Sorry.
Sometimes the set just
I
crashes.
assume we were setting up a clip for something. Okay, my bad.
No. Sometimes it just crashes, so I just got to reload it.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I don't have a ton to say. Just a really great movie.
All right, here's my
Cool.
hot take opinion. Oh no, which I feel like is a weird way to be.
Oh my
for a
god,
movie
does
like
he
this.
like BVS and dislike Lego Batman? Let's find
Wow.
out.
I think it's just forgettable. For me, it's an okay sequel to Lego Movie, and it fits that tone of that Batman. But I just don't care for it. I really don't like Zach Galifianakis' Joker as much as it fits the energy of Will Arnett there. I just don't like it. I do agree with the point about Barbara. I think it's nice to see a different take there, and it's cool to get more of that. And we get some funny jokes in between, but I really don't like this whiny kid Batman. I know it's not. It works on the Lego Movie side because he is a side character in that context. I don't think he can hold that version of Batman holds the entire movie well there. So I do need to rewatch it though. I'll say that. I haven't seen it since a little bit after theaters. I saw it twice in theaters because it's the same scenario. Somebody wanted to go. I was like, sure, whatever. But like, you know, I don't know, man. I'm very mid on it. But it's definitely better than Batman vs Superman, to be clear. Because at least it's trying to be its own thing. And I'll say we talk about the third act there. This is where I start hating this Warner Brothers bullshit. Like, bring every property in somehow, and this is where they're like testing the waters. Like, for this, I was like, at the time watching it, I'm okay with it, right? Because I think that's in the spirit of Lego, right? Where kids pull Lego sets from everywhere. I think it makes sense, and it's also in the spirit of the original Lego movie, right? And we're not talking about Space Jam 2 here, but that's like a bad example of it, where it doesn't really add anything other than to provide visual something to a scene like that. So I'll give it that much, but I don't just because it's there and it's doing it well, it doesn't mean I necessarily like it. I don't know what to say other than I think Michael Cera as Robin is pretty funny though. I do have to admit that like the main three. So I mean, Will Arnett is still him doing his thing and he's doing it. I don't like it, but he's doing a good job with it. I think Michael Cera as Robin is great, and it's Rosario Dawson, right? Or is it?
Yeah, it's Rosario Dawson.
It's Catwoman in this too.
Shout out to Billy D. Williams, be able to play.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's great.
Shout out to that. So yeah,
Also, Conan is in there, right? As Riddler, I think.
He's Riddler. Yeah.
It's an animated movie, so they get to have a nuts voice cast.
Yeah. Oh, if Conan's in there now, it's S tier, guys. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, that's it. Done.
All right, Aiden.
I was actually not ever planning on seeing this movie originally. I was like, I don't really want to see this. This looks like it's for kids. I thought the Lego movie was fine. And so then I went to go see a showing of John Wick 2 and they were sold out. So I said, all right, well, I'm already at the theater. I guess I'll watch the Lego Batman movie.
I did a double feature of those two movies.
I did actually. I did. So I watched the Lego I watched the Lego Batman movie, enjoyed the hell out of it. And then I watched John Wick 2 immediately afterward. And I was like, that was not as good as the Lego Batman movie. Which is
but, you know, it's same vibe though, right?
Obviously, yeah.
It's totally similar.
Yeah.
It's hard for John Wick to live up to Batman. Yeah, so I think it's a great movie. I love it. It's my third favorite Batman film.
Yeah.
I think there's very few films I can think of that have as many jokes per minute as the Lego Batman movie, and most of them are pretty good.
Yeah.
Like if anything, one of the complaints about the movie is that it goes so fast that you can miss a lot of the jokes because they're just so rapid fire and they like everything. The pace is so quick. All of this stuff in there is pretty funny. They clearly have a great love for the characters. I agree with Cole. I don't like Zach Galifianakis as the Joker. I don't think the voice fits very well. But I agree but I do think that it shouldn't have necessarily been Mark Hamill's Joker. I don't think that would have fit the tone of the movie as well. But I don't think Zach Galifianakis is the one for it. I just love all the jokes. I also not a huge fan of the Warner Brothers crossover stuff, but I do think it works in here pretty well. Just overall, I think it's just a really fun, really great Batman movie that's got a ton of heart and some good humor.
Yeah, and I think it's also worth mentioning they do references in a really great way, where it's a lot more background stuff, or like
Easter eggs.
it's not like show a reference and then pause for the audience to clap, sort of thing.
I
Mhm.
might be rewatching this tonight. Actually, I'm not sure.
I'm tempted now. I've been
Let's
debating.
all do it. Let's all do a watch along right
I'm
now.
I'm gonna rewatch it tonight right after I finish Assault on Arkham.
Yeah. I was
I was
debating
able to rewatch the Nolan
Justin to
movies,
watch a
but,
bad one, but
Damn, you didn't prioritize the Lego Batman movie. Come on, Matthew.
If I
I've
had
seen-
time after,
I've-
but there,
yeah. I've seen the Lego Batman movie like 6 times, so I
Okay.
Wow.
felt pretty
Wow.
confident not rewatching this one. This is
Wow.
the only theatrical released one I didn't rewatch, and probably
Jeez, what was that?
that was loud.
Is that Andrew?
that might have been me. I was
Yeah.
messing with my mic.
Okay.
Well, I'm like stretching out because I've been sitting here for 3 hours. So I think
Suddenly, a gust of wind goes into Andrew's.
All right.
Oh,
Well, yeah,
God.
you're right. We are
Jeez.
longer than the Batman. So let's.
Damn it, we
Let's,
failed our mission.
Yeah,
Are we
let's
longer
get
than
to,
ABS?
comments
let's
started
just get to
falling off
rating.
about
Yes,
40
okay.
minutes ago.
All right, Matthew, what's your rating?
I'm gonna abstain for now, and in case, but like just my memories from watching this in theaters, this was be an A for me.
Okay,
A.
Andrew?
C, top C.
And
S.
Aiden.
Sick.
It doesn't matter. So
At least
that
it's
basically
okay.
means it's today, right?
Yeah.
I think it's definitely an A. We just have to figure out where an A it is.
I've got it above Begins, but I'm not mad if it goes above.
I would. I don't know. I definitely would have it above Phantasm though.
I'd have it at the top of A if it
Yeah.
has to be an A.
I get that.
I would
put it-
have it. I tell you what. Just looking at it now, I would have it above Phantasm, purely on a technical level for me. That's the thing that's getting me right now.
That's fair.
Because we have to
Okay, so
appreciate
then I think
the
we
Lego
have to
shit
put it
is
above then.
spectacular.
It's
Right.
at least above Phantasm.
I would put it in the. I would put it right there, yeah, in the middle between those two. So
That's fine.
Okay, leave it there for now. We'll talk later if we want.
All right.
Let's just get to
we're-
this one, which
Yeah.
I'm kind of burnt out for, but I'm excited.
Well,
Andrew,
That's-
Venmo me like $5 and I'll bump up my rating too.
You think Andrew has $5 to Venmo you? You should Venmo him it first so he can Venmo it back to you.
Oh my god.
all right. Well, let's just get started with the Batman. Albert, we'll get your thoughts first.
Oh wow, I'm starting. Okay. I like this film a lot. I definitely need to rewatch it. I don't know when. I'm kind of exhausted from the first watch just because of the 3 hours. It's a very thrilling film, and it's heavy. And a 3-hour film like that got me exhausted. And my biggest complaint was the third act and some of the pacing. I think they could cut some stuff out in the middle relating to the Riddler, I think. And like the third act is my biggest issue because I feel like, and I've told you guys in private, but just for the audience, I think there are like layers of third acts that's happening in this film that makes it like, at least for me, it makes it like exhausting because it's like, okay, we solved the Riddler issue, great. Send him to whatever Blackgate or whatever they Arkham Asylum. I don't know. Send him there. Okay. There are still stuff you deal with with the Riddler afterwards, and then you got the flood thing going on, and then you still got some other. There is another storyline that's happening. But basically, like it's like multiple stuff getting wrapped up, and it's not done and everything. Oh, and like the Penguin, the Carmine Falcone stuff is like there too. So it's kind of a lot. But everything else about it, I love it. I love the score. I love the cinema. Technically, I think this is the best technical Batman technically the best made Batman film. I love the detective stuff because we don't really get to see that a lot in the live action theatrical realm. So I enjoyed that part a lot. I think Paul Dano is good in this film. I like Pattinson as Batman, Pattinson as Bruce Wayne. I'm not fully sold on that yet. There are some parts I like, some parts I don't. I think Kravitz is fantastic. Her second best Catwoman performance for sure. She's great. She's great in this one.
That's big.
Um,
I also
Colin-
would like to admit that.
Yeah, I'm the Tom
Colin-
Hardy.
Colin Firth. Colin Firth is Farrell. Yes, Farrell. Colin Farrell. It could be Colin. It could be Colin Firth. You never know under those makeups.
Who knows?
Colin Farrell is
Oh my
great
God.
in this one. Carmine Falcone and John Turturro is great. Andy Serkis is fine. I don't think he adds. He's one of
I
the
think
weaker parts.
if he had
of the
more to
film.
do, I think
Yeah.
he would.
Yeah, a
He
little
could be
bit.
up there. Like,
Yeah, I agree. I think he could get there, but he's not there yet.
Yeah, which is ironic considering it's Matt Reeves. But yeah, I'll stop for that for now. I know the others are more passionate about this film than I am. So
Okay.
Let me pull up my review real quick, make sure I don't forget anything.
Are you gonna read the whole thing, dude? We're not
Okay.
gonna-
But
speed
the
run.
next-
Let's go.
The next 30 minutes, I will be filibustering by reading my 3-page review.
I'm gonna grab more
Batman.
wine. I'm kidding.
I have a homework assignment. Then you get done. Let me up your.
Yeah, this is my favorite. This is my favorite Batman.
I can be kind of quick about it though, if you want me to just get it out of the way, Andrew. Unless you really
Okay.
want to go now. Go now.
Well, you can go ahead. It's just if you take some of my points, I don't
Oh.
think you will.
Go ahead. No, I probably will. Go ahead.
No, because you'll cover the comic stuff, which I don't really need to cover. So go ahead.
Okay, I guess I'm covering the comics.
No, you don't have to. I will.
No, let's just go in order. I'm not gonna break the order. You're right.
Okay, great. My name's Andrew Jess, and I'm a big fan of the Batman.
Hi,
On-
Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
On February 28th, 2022, I was invited to an early screening of the Batman by my friend who had found the tickets. It is my favorite Batman movie. I like Batman a lot, and it's my favorite Batman movie. It's the prettiest superhero movie in live action. It's unfortunate, but Spider-Verse is the prettiest superhero movie. It's the best looking, I guess is how I'd put it. Okay, no, but like, not joking. Pattinson's amazing, which I think most people who watch movies knew was going to be the case. Like, he's just a phenomenal actor, and then he gets to do a lot. It's not obvious. Like, a lot of his acting is just like working with his eyes, or like the slight movements of his like jaw, or like his body language in general, because he's wearing the cowl like almost the entire movie. And he still delivers an incredible performance. And I think that's like, we get to see, this is like a really raw, emotional Batman. Like, every Batman is driven by his emotions because of, he's Batman because his parents were killed, right? Like, that's not a wholly rational reaction to that. I don't think many people would do that. But this is one who's like, he's like he's pretty stoic up until they find Catwoman's friend in the trunk, and that's just a moment that comes out of nowhere. Like, they're just like at a drug bust, and then suddenly they find her. Like, they were looking for her, but I don't know. It's unexpected, and you can see it in Pattinson's eyes. He's like totally shaken in that moment, and the rest of the film, he just goes downhill from there. Like, he's like responsible for probably all these deaths on the highway because of the chase scene with the Penguin, and like he's just like fucking sprinting around trying to figure everything out. And it's a really cool version of the character. This is also a Catwoman that made me realize that Catwoman is a fucking awesome character, which I'm not always on board with. I think she makes a lot of sense. It digs into her roots in a way that a lot of movies don't usually do. And then Kravitz's performance is incredible. And usually I'm more annoyed by the relationship between Catwoman and Batman being romantic than anything. Usually I'm like, okay, we get it. Like, fine. But in this, I believed it. It's like, Bruce is reluctant, but it's like there's just a chemistry between them that makes it make sense to me. It's just a really, really interesting relationship. Great casting between those two to make that work. And then all the casting is incredible. When I heard Jeffrey Wright as Gordon, I was like, oh my God, that's perfect. I would never have thought about it, but oh my God, that works so well. I don't know. I love Jeffrey Wright. He's amazing. I think he could end up being a better Gordon, because Gordon, like, some of his cool stories, like, so in the original trilogy, Gordon's just like, sometimes he does press releases and turns on the bad signal. And then in like the Dark Knight trilogy, he's like a really cool character, but there's not a lot of like things where you get to see him interact in a great way with Batman, which we absolutely get better interactions in this. And he's just a fun character. He's always better before he's a commissioner, I think, because once he's a commissioner, like truly the bureaucracy becomes a bigger thing, and you don't get to see him doing his own investigations as much and stuff like that. So I really like that they start him with Lieutenant here, and that's like, you know, that's where most places start, but it works really well. Falcone is like, or Falcone's what they call him in the Dark Knight trilogy. I'm sorry. Falcone is good, but like he's just like a mob boss. Like there's not a lot to work with there, but Turturro does a really good job with it. And then Riddler, which Daniel doesn't, you know, he's usually just like in those video messages. It's not as much interactions and stuff, but in that scene in prison, it's really great because it's playing off expectations from comic fans. It's playing off expectations that you gain throughout the movie about like whether his identity's been discovered, which is amazing. In the scene where Batman thinks he's done, like he thinks that the concept of the Batman is dead because he's been discovered, and you can just see him like sag, and he's like, "You're a good cop, Gordon." And then he goes in there, and he's like slowly losing his mind as the Riddler is starting to be like, Bruce Wayne," and then it's like this relief for a moment before he realizes that there's more to the plan that he has to stop. I think the main complaint that I get about this is it does feel like there's multiple endings. I don't care. I think it works really well. Like it does just keep going, but I'm down for it to keep going. I would have watched another 2 hours. And then, I mean, the comic stuff's great. This could be like a really cool No Man's Land, or they could take it in like a bunch of different directions. Like, there's so many options for them, but ultimately, the main hope for the sequel for me is that it's driven by this ending where he's discovering hope as a primary like driver of who the Batman is instead of just vengeance and fear, because that's so cool. Like this, that's just like not what people expect from him. And so like seeing him in the daylight, just helping people and not like trying to hide. Oh God, it's really, really cool. It's a great take that takes a lot of inspiration from the source material, but makes its own version. And then just all of the technical aspects are incredible. Like the way it's shot, I've already said. I think the music's really solid. I like the movie.
Yeah.
That wasn't too long, right? I talk fast, so that
That's good.
Good. I think you got it all.
Yeah,
I didn't get everything, but I'll leave it.
we can go back to you after.
Yeah,
If there's anything we missed, you know, we'll get back.
Let Andrew double dip.
Okay. Yeah.
Can I just say I'm glad we didn't start at 9 after all?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. No kidding. Jeez. Anyways, so yeah, this was awesome. I feel like the conversation around the movie, especially recently, is how he's coming. Matt Reeves coming from Planet of the Apes, and he kind of takes that and transforms it as a part of this new movie. And I feel like that doesn't give him enough credit here, because I feel like a lot of what he's doing here is really suspenseful in the same way that the other films have been in Batman's filmography. He's not an actor, but you know what I mean. Batman but red, really cool. I do like this color palette choice, because eventually we're gonna run out of color palettes for Batman, but like inherently, I think it works within the realm of the film too, especially because there's a lot of nightclubs and things like that. I do think this is the best Catwoman. I think what Michelle Pfeiffer does is very much for the Burton movie, and I think what I think what Anne Hathaway does is very boring. So in that way, I think Zoe Kravitz just kills it. I think it's the best so far. I'm not quite set on Pattinson yet, but honestly, what he's doing here is amazing. And all the side characters here are fantastic. I do like Colin Farrell, not Firth, as Penguin, despite the transformation, because as much as like character work is about that sometimes, he still acts through it pretty well. And yeah, Falcon's. Oh my God, did I love John Turturro's Falcone? That's still my takeaway from the movie, which is such a weird thing to land on, but I think it just works because of the preconceived notion you have about Turturro as an actor as well.
Yeah.
What else can I say? I do think it's, after a second watch, I was unsure about how the length, because it is long. But the problem is that you still need that last bit. And I think it's very important, as kind of what Andrew brings up, but also what Albert brings up here, where it does feel like it's dragging a little bit. But I was thinking about it. It's like, how do you restructure it to make that work? And I don't think you can. And so I think it embraces keeping at least the pace of it to the point where we get to an end and it's a bit of a relief. It's great though. It's really great. We'll get there, but it's my second favorite so far of all time.
All right, Aiden.
Yeah, it's my new first favorite of all time. It's so good. And just like Andrew said, from every technical aspect, this movie knocks it out of the park. The cinematography, the music, it's this very simple 4 chords, but like it's so easily like it gets stuck in your head. And I mean, if there's a complaint about the music, which I can understand, it's that they just use like that one song for all the songs,
But it's memorable.
Which is not true. by the way.
but it's that they have more songs than that, but like that's the main one. It's kind of like the First Man sort of thing, where they have one really good theme and then they just kind of remix it into every other song. But it's such a good song, and like it fits every scene that it's in so well that I really don't care. I love it. All the performances are incredible. Yeah, I think the script is really good. Like it's a really solid script. I agree with Albert that it does feel, I can feel the runtime by the end. But I can't think of anything that I would change. I know that there's several different things they have to wrap up all at once. Like they have to wrap up the Rat, they have to wrap up Selena's issues, they have to wrap up the Riddler, and that all kind of happens all at once. But all of it feels necessary. And like I don't know how you'd cut out any of those things without cutting out like 40 minutes of the movie, because all of it's so interconnected. But I think all of it works. I could have sat for another 2 hours as well. Maybe if they gave you a quick like intermission, like those old movies do. It'd be like, the Bat will be right back. Go get some, some water.
Take your bat break.
Yeah, take a bat break. Exactly. But yeah, I just think it works so well. Like the first time you see the Batmobile, just like
dude, I didn't even mention that. That's insane.
It's so good.
That was great watching in IMAX because you could just feel the
And the way
rumble
it,
of
it roars to
It
life.
was
Yeah.
great.
It's
Pretty
like
much-
a monster.
Pretty much like the first time you see anything is incredible. Like the opening sequence is probably my favorite opening scene in any superhero film.
Oh my God,
And like the Dark Knight has a damn good opening sequence with that bank heist, but the opening scene where all the criminals are like genuinely afraid when they look up at the bat signal,
that's-
and then he finally walks out of the dark and beats the shit out of those guys with face paint. That's so cool. Like I would pay for 100 more tickets if I could just see that in IMAX. Yeah, exactly. I love that scene so much. The scene where he like jumps off the GCPD building and like flies through the air. Like there's so many just chills inducing.
I do love when he bunks the bridge.
Yeah. Smashes his face, probably dies.
Fine, walk it off.
Yeah, but there's so many like chills inducing moments which I don't usually get in Batman or superhero films in general. It's usually like, yeah, that was cool, or like, yeah, that was a cool line. But this is like, holy shit, my skin is crawling. So it's just so cool. It takes a lot of inspiration from Long Halloween and Earth One and some Year One stuff, but I think it successfully melds those and does its own thing to kind of create a new interpretation of it all. The only issue I'd take with it is Robert Pattinson is an amazing Batman. I don't like his Bruce Wayne. I don't like this interpretation of Bruce Wayne very much, where he's just like an emo teenager hiding in his house. Like I don't really agree with that. It's also kind of weird that the Riddler's like, oh, I needed you to bring him out in the light. I'd never have a chance to get him in the day. But they're both at the funeral, which is in the middle of the city that Riddler's also at. So like he had a chance to
He's not
kill
there,
him
is
right
he?
there.
Is he
He
there?
is.
That's
I
the
don't know.
secret.
I don't know if it's him on the balcony or not. I guess.
Right.
That wasn't
I
clear.
think
think it
I think
is.
it's heavily implied that it's him on the balcony.
Yeah,
I
that-
think
Yeah.
it's heavily implied that Batman has paranoia in this scenario.
that's
So
it.
I don't.
Huh.
I'm not sure. Also, I mean, it's possible, but even then, when you see the footage of him in the room, I mean, they kind of, although it's hours after, so I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's like several hours later. It's nighttime when they finally
Mhm.
roll that robot in there. So I think it's supposed to be him on there. So other than that, like there's not many inconsistencies or issues that I can come up with. But yeah, I just didn't really like the way Bruce Wayne was portrayed. But everything else I think is really, really, really solid. I've seen it twice, and so I initially was hesitant about saying it's my favorite Batman film after seeing it once, just because of like recency bias and just kind of getting swept up in that. But after seeing it twice, I think that I can say that I think it is my new definitive Batman movie.
Yeah.
I don't like the Joker shoehorned
yeah, I didn't-
shoehorned in there.
oh.
They could probably cut that out.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, it's just world building, right? Like, it's not like he's gonna be the main villain.
I mean,
in the
at
next-
the
I
at a 3-hour film,
I
you could
think-
probably just cut that out.
I don't think that they're gonna put him in there and cast a well-known actor.
he's not the
as
main
if
villain in
they're-
the next movie because Matt Reeves talked about that in an interview.
Oh,
Did
did
he?
he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he-
said
Alright.
that
So
it's
might-
just
might
setting
as
up
well
the
just
world
cut
of
it and save
Gotham
the runtime.
and like showing that like this character exists, but like
I
he's
saw
not the
things-
full Joker yet.
yeah.
Also, like
I saw
you know.
that. I didn't realize he said it wasn't. He
Yeah,
wasn't.
I thought the idea was that he was going to become the full Joker in the next movie or something.
I don't
know.
think he is. I think it's just like
I
setting
think
up
Court
this
of Owls
world of
makes
Gotham.
so
Yeah,
much-
I don't know. I would love to see another Batman movie where Joker's not the main villain.
Yeah.
What they could have done instead of having cast Barry Keoghan and doing that is like in the opening scene, one of the touches is like a Joker face paint that establishes that Joker exists and that saves runtime. I think that they would have just done.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah,
I like
Uh,
Bruce Wayne, but I get that complaint.
yeah. Zoe Kravitz, excellent Batwoman. Or oh my god, I keep like mixing up Catwoman and Batwoman for some
Batwoman.
reason. Excellent Catwoman. I think she and Pattinson have great chemistry. I do like that it's kind of like the tragic star-crossed lover sort of thing for most of the Batman things, where it's just like, yeah, he can't have both.
Yeah.
He can't be with her and be Batman. I guess the only other thing I'm not excited about for the future of it moving forward is just kind of the whole business side of it, is how they've like already announced 2 separate streaming shows based on this. And I don't know, sometimes it's nice to just have a single solid movie with the potential for a sequel instead of having, before the movie is even out, announcing 5 spin-off shows or something.
What's the 2 spin-offs? I know the pink.
So
Penguin-
there's the Penguin spin-off show, and there was a GCPD sort of spin-off show that
Oh.
has now become an Arkham horror spin-off show. Something
I like that
that.
idea.
I
think
mean,
Dark
like
Knight-
Peacemaker was a great show that like continue the world of the Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah,
So
I
That's-
think it's
I think
something-
I have
Take
faith
lead
that
in
like
it, but yeah,
if Reeves is attached, I have faith. basically.
Yeah,
Talking about horror, I like the horror vibe from this film. That opening shot, when it was talking opening shot, I thought it was talking about the Riddler opening shot because I think that was cool. When
Yeah.
literally the guy just calling and then the Riddler just standing there, that is like straight Halloween
right.
vibes. And I
Yeah.
was like, that is
I
like,
know it's funny
right.
because
I keep forgetting that the movie actually opens with Ave Maria and him killing the person. When
Yeah.
I think of the
Yeah.
opening shot, I always think of like the one where he's like narrating his diary.
Mhm.
When the
God, I love that Batman
It's
has
a
a diary, dude.
Yeah.
I love it. It makes so much sense. Like,
Yeah.
dear diary, today I beat up some thugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Joker's pissing me off.
I'm sick of it.
All right. I think we gotta cut it.
Darkness.
All right. Well,
No,
yeah, I've only seen the movie once, and I feel
me
pretty
too.
good about it being my favorite Batman movie. Honestly, I plan to. I really want to watch it again though. But like,
Yeah.
I really love the movie and like just the take on like the detective story, and also Paul Dano's Riddler is amazing. I think you guys already talked about the actors. I pretty much agree with what you guys said. Like specifically, I think Colin Farrell also, like, he, even if he's like unrecognizable, I think he still does a lot with his acting to like, you know, feel like the Penguin, and just like it's really funny when he's like waddling and just, you know.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk
Did he
about
waddle
that.
really?
Yeah, when he's tied up, or when he's tied up when they're
Oh, okay. I thought he just
like,
waddles
"Hey,
on
what
a
are you guys doing? What are you guys doing?"
regularly. Okay, that scene is funny.
I very much laughed.
There's not a lot of jokes in the movie, but I feel like they all hit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
No,
they- all the jokes
yeah,
work,
in the
like-
detective scene when they're going through that, and like it's just him
Careful, your
like
punches, I did.
menacingly standing over there. Like it's not. I don't know why it gets a laugh
Excuse
out of me
me.
every time. Because it's like,
Dude, they know how to they did humor really well.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like there's not a lot of it, but like every time there's a joke, it works. Basically,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right. And like a great, like, I've got
Do you
on
know
a
my
assault
reputation?
on
Yeah,
an
I
officer.
do. Do you?
I've got you on an assault on an officer. You got me assaulted.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
a really good scene, and like yeah, we're talking about the opening scene where it's really interesting that it's just like it starts off from the point of view of the Riddler, and then later on, like, you see Batman doing the same thing to watching Catwoman. Like, I just thought that parallel was really interesting. Yeah, I feel like I don't want this to go on for too long, and you guys have said everything that
Okay.
I
Too late,
really
for
enjoyed.
that.
Great,
So-
great. S.
Oh,
Yes.
I forgot to mention. Sorry, the bat suit. This is my favorite bat suit.
I love
I
Favorite Batmobile for me.
I think this is my favorite bat suit because it looks the coolest. It literally
Yeah, I
is
think it
just
might
a
be mine
tank.
Yeah.
It actually feels like he's able to fight crime, and it's not like a rubber suit. It's not a cloth suit. It's not like a sort of armored thing. It's literally like he can just tank a whole bunch of machine gun fire
Yeah.
while
And then,
still
like, when it's
while
all
still
black and
looking
all you see are like
Very
the-
unrealistic.
while
like,
still looking menacing and form functionable, and like you can still see his face, but it's not like so constricted like the Dark Knight cowl that his lips are forced open or whatever. Yeah, I think it looks the best, and it seems like it's the best fit for the character.
I
So
also like how it has thick boots.
Yes,
Just gonna say
Yeah.
that. I like that.
the
Creative
clunk, the
use of the
clunk for
grappling
it.
hook in this movie to skewer his
Oh,
bones.
Yeah. Whoa, take it easy.
Take it easy, sweetheart.
No habla español.
El Rata Lada.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry, I derailed that. Top of S.
What are your thoughts on the Batmobile? Is this your favorite Batmobile?
No.
No.
It's one of my favorite Gotham. I'll say that in live
It's my
action.
favorite Gotham for
Yeah,
sure.
it's
Yeah,
best
it's my
live
favorite
action
Gotham.
Gotham.
It's not
In my
mine. It suffers from the same problem as Dark Knight Trilogy, just it's a little bit more stylized. For me, anyways, it still feels like Chicago. It still feels like that.
But
I
like you
feel
feel
like-
like the bleakness of like the city, and because it's Gotham.
Because it's raining all the
It gives
time.
it
dude.
gives me
Like,
more
I-
New
I
York
don't
vibes
know.
than anything, especially because they got Gotham Square Garden.
Yeah, they got.
I do like that. I
Yeah,
do like the
Times
square
Square.
because it looks almost colonial.
Yeah.
Like it's been around that long. I like that part of it. Anyways, I would say, but for me, I'd say below Dark Knight, though. For me,
I think if just saying like, oh, it's like a real life city is like not like, you know, big cities are big cities, right?
a good
I'm
thing.
aware. I'm aware. My point is, I think it does it better than the way that eventually the Dark Knight trilogy goes with it.
I agree.
Because like even Wayne Manor is kind of cool. I like that. I like
Yeah.
that design. I feel like that's some mix for some people. I like that.
I like the Wayne Manor design.
I didn't
as
like the
well.
Wayne Manor as
Oh.
much, but
That's fine. All right. Can we rank this,
Also,
please?
Giacchino's score, I like it more than Zimmer's.
Can we rank it, please? I'm very
All right,
tired.
S tier.
Just
S
leave,
tier.
Cole.
Top of S.
Top of S.
No, I'm
Top of
not
S.
really.
Top of S.
A.
I would say bottom
What?
left.
Oh, Albert's throwing.
Albert,
You told me to keep it as is. Mine is. You want me to show my monitor? I have it at A. I cannot change it. You told me to stick to
Wait,
it.
wait. If we're going off of that, I think I have an A too. Hold on.
Fuck off.
I will need to rewatch it. I'm pretty sure it will go up to an A open
I-
rewatch, but
No,
right,
I'm still saying
to
bottom
S.
S.
Right now it's an A.
All right, so we have 4 S's and an A.
but I say bottom.
Three of those are top of S.
3 of those are
so
top of S.
I think that makes it top of
I
S.
think that makes it top of S.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Well deserved.
I'm okay
I don't
with
mind
making it here.
You know what? Actually, I think it's a D. Sorry.
Okay. Wow. Thank
It
you
could
guys
have
for
been an
being
S,
here.
but Batman didn't slip, so it become an A.
Okay, I
I
know
was
I know
waiting
we
for
want to
the
wrap
slip
it up,
one.
and I do apologize. I know because I do want to at least mention some of the other animated stuff just by rattling it off because I think part of what makes the Batman great is it pulls greatly from the comics. And if you liked kind of the conversation we brought up here, if you like 66, watch The Return of the Cape Crusader. I think it's a great follow up from that. If you like anything that they did in BVS a little bit, watch watch Returns. If you want a better version
don't
of it.
compare Dark Knight Returns to
Hey,
BVS.
literally pulled directly from it. I
Right,
don't
but
tell you.
don't say like if you like BVS. Say if you like Batman, because it's literally like one of the best.
I agree. If you like
Batman,
Batman, if you like, hey,
yeah.
if you like Rises, he's crippled in Rises. He's
Oh
crippled
my
in
god!
Returns.
If you like Batman, period, just watch
Okay,
Dark Knight
Under the Red Hood.
Returns.
Yeah.
And then if you were thinking like, oh, I'm sad that Robert Pattinson, the vampire in Twilight, we couldn't get Batman as a vampire. Watch Justice League Gods and Monsters because he is a vampire.
Watch
and then-
Batman versus Dracula.
That's
'cause
a
he
great
fights a
pitch, man.
vampire.
That's true. Or Batman vs. Dracula, where Peter Stormare is Dracula. And then Under the Red Hood is still probably my favorite. Everyone should check that
Under
out.
Red Hood's like my favorite Batman story.
Yeah.
Batman Assault on Arkham, even though Batman's not in it very much, is the definitive Suicide Squad movie, in my opinion.
It's better than Hell to Pay, I'll tell you that much.
Okay.
Okay, are we good?
I
Any more
tweeted my
anime
ranking.
movies
If,
you wanna
if
talk
you like, Batman,
Batman
Alfred's
Batman.
dynamic, watch Teen Titan Goes to the Movies. That scene alone.
That's
Oh,
true.
man.
He does ride Alfred like a car, or like a bike, I guess.
Any other
Like a
plugs?
All right. I'm good with the way the ranking is right here. I don't need to change
Yeah.
anything.
All right.
Yeah,
So to recap
I don't
for all
mind.
the audio listeners, we have one movie in F, and it's Batman and Robin. In D, we have BVS. Bottom of C is Batman Forever, and the top of C is The Dark Knight Rises. Bottom of B is 1966 Batman. Above that is Batman 89. Then above that is Batman Returns. Bottom of A is Mask of the Phantasm. Then the Lego Batman movie, and at the top is Batman Begins. And bottom of S is The Dark Knight, and the top of S is The Batman.
Sweet.
Great.
All right. Yeah, thanks for being here. Anything you guys want to say before I wrap things up? And
Let's
finally.
bat dance. Out of here.
All
I
right.
have a few more points I want to make.
All right, go ahead, Andrew.
Follow Andrew on Letterboxd to see his full review.
And we mean full.
Yes, we'll link it. We'll put the review in our description, I guess.
Let's go.
Link it.
Next week, Andrew will be hosting Guy Ritchie tier list. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, that's all. Thanks for being here. I'm gonna end the show.
Yep. Thanks,
night,
everyone.
everybody.
Thanks for hosting.
Thanks, everyone.
I've been leaned back in my chair for like